The following is a production of Hometown and Home Country Radio Sports.
Here's the motion by Hansen and the 1-2. Ground ball towards the right side, and that one gets through to right field for a base hit. Aiden Ulrich wins it for Algona, and the Bulldogs have taken control of the North Central Conference. One pitch. Flaherty's taking off. Swing and a miss. Throw to second base by Ulrich. It's on target. Tag is down, and they got him. Ulrich throws at the runner at second base, and Slagle pumps his fist on the mound. Garmin's 0-2. Swing and a miss for strike three. The Algona Bulldogs are one game away from the state tournament. As there's a hard hit ball towards right center field. That could be a gapper, and Free is racing back. It's over his head. Alsbecker got a late break. He's on his way to third as the ball is still out by the fence. Alsbecker will be waved around third base. Heading to third right behind him is Garmin. Garmin's being waved around as well. One run scores. Here comes Garmin. Inside the park, home run.
Video streaming on the Algona Radio YouTube channel is brought to you by Algona Municipal Utilities, community owned for community benefit. Kemna Auto Center, where it's not just about the car, it's about the care. Iowa State Bank, helping people succeed. PNC Advantage Insurance Services. Having the advantage makes all the difference. And Algona Frame and Auto Body. We meet by accident. Now, here's Hometown and Home Country Radio Sports Director, Tyler Lance.
Well, there's nothing quite like postseason baseball, and today the postseason arrives in Class 3A. Last year it was a magical run by the Algona Bulldog team, winning the North Central Conference and eventually making it all the way to the Substate final before losing a heartbreaker against eventual state champion North Polk. This year it's been more of an up and down road, a roller coaster ride for the Bulldogs, but they once again win the NCC, and now the postseason journey begins. This Algona team, playing in their season of expectations, gets the postseason underway this afternoon against the Charles City Comets here from the Harlan Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge. Of course, the Bulldogs were supposed to have home field advantage in this game. It was supposed to take place at Algona High School, but unfortunately, rain in our area today and wet field conditions mean this game has been moved to Fort Dodge here at the Harlan Rogers Complex, where they have an all-turf field, so the wet field conditions not a factor here on the turf. So we'll play here in Fort Dodge today between the North Central Conference champion Algona Bulldogs and their 22-8 overall record, and the Charles City Comets out of the Northeast Iowa Conference, who come into the game at 1-26. This is the Substate 3 quarterfinal round, as the winner in this one will play on Monday night against the winner of Clear Lake and Humboldt. Algona, the top seed in this Substate bracket, so any games prior to state that Algona plays in the postseason would be at home. But first, they've got to take control of the postseason. They've got to capitalize on their opportunities, and they've got to take care of business today against the Charles City Comets, a team the Bulldogs have already defeated twice this season. They played a doubleheader at the very tail end of the regular season, the Bulldogs winning both games 11-1 and 12-0 during that doubleheader. So they will try to replicate that today against the Charles City Comets as they open up postseason action. Again, the winner of this game playing the winner of Humboldt and Clear Lake. That game will go on later today, and that game's moved as well, as it'll take place at the Clear and Goldfield Downs Baseball Diamond, another turf field. But here today, the focus turns towards the Algona Bulldogs, and to get us ready for postseason action, we'll check in with head coach Chad Slagle. We'll get Coach Slagle's thoughts coming up next after this on KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
Frank, when you think fairway, you think fresh. Is that the winning culture you've tried to create?
Penelope Pineapple, what an unbelievable produce performance. How does your team stay so fresh?
Sunkissed Orange. Is it true Fairway has offered the freshest produce in town since 1938?
What can we say? Our produce is so fresh, we're speechless.
And postseason baseball action is coming up on Hometown Radio KLGA as the Algona Bulldogs begin the postseason against the Charles City Comets. And joining us right now is Algona head coach Chad Slagle. Coach, as always, we appreciate your time today here on Hometown Radio, and we're just going to start off, towards the end of the regular season. I think it's safe to say the Bulldogs got on a little roller coaster ride there, but you've had a couple days off to kind of get back to practice and get ready to the postseason. So with all that being said, how overall, or where overall, would you evaluate where the team's at right now heading into the playoffs?
Yeah, I wish we'd play a little bit more consistent, and like you said, are we on a roll, so to speak? I wouldn't say we're on a roll. It's just playing consistent, and that those are things that you hope that you were doing as we got into the towards the end of the year. But unfortunately, we weren't. But the postseason's a whole new season, so We've had 2 good practices, and we're just trying to get everything put together, and hopefully, we get on a big roll here with the tournament starting.
Well, Coach, let's talk about some of the guys who have stood out here really throughout the regular season, and it kind of begins with Tate Slagle. He's been great all year long, but especially the past few weeks at the plate, he's been on kind of an otherworldly type of tear with the home run numbers he's put up and just the overall production. What would you say is driving the kind of production that he's had, especially the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, I'd just say, the time that he's put in the off season, things he's done, in the spring and the fall, has all been beneficial to him, and putting him in front of, some of the best guys that there are in the state in the spring and the fall. I mean, that gets you ready for the summer, and he's gone a lot of places all over the Midwest playing, and this is what I was hoping for, for him, and, this is kind of what was expected. You're supposed to do this if you're a good ball player, and he's living up to what he's supposed to be doing. So obviously as a coach, I'm proud of him. As a dad, I'm proud of him. But I mean, there's still a lot of work to do. I mean, he's got to get better, and so do all our kids. They need to get better. But the last couple of weeks he's seen the ball well, and we just hope that continues throughout the postseason.
And, Coach, one guy who it seems has grown a lot from last year to this year is Dawson Elsbecker. Of course, last year he was in the number 9 spot in the lineup. This year, you guys move up to leadoff, so some different expectations hitting number 9 versus hitting leadoff. Can you sort of speak on the way he's been able to fulfill that leadoff role and try to rise to those expectations?
Yeah, Dawson's had a great year. You're exactly right. Last year as a freshman, getting into the lineup, not much pressure, seeing a lot of fastballs, was the key for him last year in his rookie campaign. But he's kind of like Tate as well. I mean, his parents take him to a lot of fall and spring, situations where he's going against really good competition, and all those things have paid off for Dawson, and that's why he's having a good year. I mean, he puts in a ton of time, not only in the spring and fall, but also in the winter, and he's got parents that drive him to do that stuff, and it's those things that people need to understand. That's why he's the way he is, and why he's had the season he's had. He's put the time in. He's done the work. He's done what he's supposed to do, and he's just going to continue to get better. This year was a great year, and I expect the years to come for him to just progressively keep getting better and better. But as a leadoff hitter, he does a great job for us. Sets the tone, sets the table for our next guys up.
And, Coach, obviously it's been unfortunate to see Tate Garman deal with some injuries this season, but the good news is he's back in the batting order and bringing some production for you guys. What do you feel he adds to this team when he's in the order?
He's just a good ball player, and not having him all year has definitely been, a kind of a pain for us. But at the same time, our kids have done a great job of realizing we haven't had him, and we've had different guys step up. But having him in the order definitely provides a great stick in the lineup. He's got some power. He can just do some things that, some other guys can't do. And he's another guy that played a lot of spring and fall ball as well. And, you see kind of I don't know what the word would be, but like a trait. The guys that are going and playing in the fall and the spring, they have good luck for a reason in the summer, because they're putting themselves against good competition all fall and spring, and that's what Tate has done, that's what Dawson's done, and that's what Tate Slagle's done, that's what Aiden Ulrich's done, Mason Ulrich. I mean, that's why they're not they've been put in situations that some other kids that haven't gone and done that have done.
We're talking right now with Algona Bulldog head coach Chad Slagle. Coach, of course, to win in the postseason, the team's going to need some great pitching from Tate Slagle and Aiden Ulrich. And I know last couple outings of the regular season didn't go the way Aiden wanted them to, but when you look specifically at him, how do you feel he gets back on track this postseason?
Keeping his confidence and getting after it, throwing strikes, and defense playing, good defense behind him. He's had a couple, rough or maybe not his most solid outings, but he's a senior, and you just hope that he's going to grab the bull by the horns and take care of business when he gets out on the mound. I mean, that's what you rely on with these seniors is, they've been through the trenches, so to speak, and it's their time to shine, and it's their time to step it up and be the leader.
Coach, final thing I had here, looking at the potential path for the Bulldogs going forward and just overall what your postseason bracket looks like. Obviously, a lot of familiarity there. Some NCC opponents, potentially some teams that maybe aren't in the NCC but that you saw earlier in the regular season. Overall, could you kind of give us your synopsis of the bracket and some of the challenges the Bulldogs may face here as they go forward?
Yeah, obviously we got to take care of business against Charles City, but that 4-5 seed with Clear Lake and Humboldt, definitely is going to be a tough game. That's probably a real tough draw for a 1 seed to get with any of those two guys, but it is what it is, and you've got to beat everybody to make it anyways. So fortunately for us, I like our pitching situation, and we just hope that the thing that's took us all year has been our pitching, and hopefully those guys, whether it's Tate, whether it's Aiden, whether it's Wes Strite, Aiden Engel, whoever it is that we put out there, they're relied on to get the job done, and that including Dawson Elsbecker also on the mound too. And then the bottom half of the bracket's kind of wide open. I look for Boone or Waverly to come through that, but you got Webster City, who's always traditionally been a good ball club that kind of had a tough season, but it's district time. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. You got to show up. You got to play 21 outs. You got to play every pitch to pitch, and you got to compete. We've got to play loose and confident. Base running wise, we've got to not make any mental mistakes on the base paths, and we've got to play perfect to make a run, just like everybody else does. So it's one of those brackets that when it came out, we can beat anybody in the bracket, but anybody can beat us too.
Well, Coach, it all gets started as the Bulldogs take on Charles City in the first round of the postseason. Wish you best of luck in this game, and thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you, and thank you for all the coverage.
That's Algona Bulldog head coach Chad Slagle here on Hometown Radio KLGA. First pitch between the Algona Bulldogs and Charles City Comets coming up next.
Life's buzzing with energy. From the delightfully routine, to the novel and exciting, to the truly uncharted. With all that life brings, it's easy to lose track of what powers all those moments, our health. At Mercy One, our caring doctors focus on just that, powering health, from the everyday to the extraordinary. So you're ready for what life brings next. Find care at mercyone.org/healthpowerslife.
Tyler Lance back for you here on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream as we get ready for the Charles City Comets taking on the Algona Bulldogs in Class 3A Substate 3 quarterfinal action as the postseason gets underway here in this Class 3A bracket. With that, let's get into today's starting lineups. First, the Charles City Comets will be the visiting team today at the Holland Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge. They will lead things off with their center fielder, Vinny Benning. Holden McEnroy, the shortstop, bats second. Cam Littleton, the catcher, will hit third. Zachary Scheck at third base batting cleanup. Sawyer Hansen in right field, he will bat fifth. Micah Thompson at first base hitting sixth. Luke Jacobs, the designated hitter, bats seventh as he will bat for left fielder Brennan Ruziska. Ethan Hadley does the pitching today, batting eighth, and Jackson Ruziska at second base batting ninth for head coach Tyler Downing and the 1-26 Charles City Comets. Meanwhile, for the 22-8 Algona Bulldogs and head coach Chad Slagle, it'll be Dawson Elsbecker batting leadoff and playing left field. Tate Slagle behind home plate tonight batting second. Tate Garment in right field hitting third. Aiden Orrick pitching today as he will bat cleanup. Mason Orrick at first base batting fifth. Aiden Engel, the designated hitter, bats sixth as he'll bat for the center fielder, Levi Walker. Jackson Eischen at shortstop hitting seventh. Ryan Weir at third base hitting eighth. And Sam Schucher, the second baseman, batting ninth for the Algona Bulldogs, the champions of the North Central Conference outright for the second season in a row. As mentioned earlier, the winner in this game moves on. They will face the winner of Humboldt and Clear Lake coming up on Monday night. You look across this bracket. Algona's the number 1 seed. Charles City's the number 8 seed here in Substate 3. Of course, Humboldt and Clear Lake, that's a 4-5 matchup, with Humboldt being the number 4 seed and Clear Lake being the number 5 seed. Over on the other side of the bracket, number 2 seed Boone takes on Hampton Dumont Cal today in a game that's been moved up to 4 o'clock. And also over on the other side of the Substate 3 bracket, number 3 seeded Waverly Shell Rock takes on number 6 seed Webster City. So among those 8 teams, one of those 8 teams will be going to state, and we'll find out who it is over the course of the next week or so. But it all gets started today as the quarterfinal matches take place here at varying times. Of course, our game getting moved up to 3:30 here at Harlan Rogers. Supposed to take place at Algona today, but the wet field conditions have resulted in this game being moved to Fort Dodge at a turf field. And that's been the case for a few of those other games as well, getting moved to different locations that have turf and getting moved to different time slots than the traditional 7 o'clock start time for a state postseason game. Well, the stage is set. Again, it's the Charles City Comets and the Algona Bulldogs from the Holland Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge, and it's coming up next on 92.7 KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
Whether a ref makes a bad call or it's opposing players or fans trying to get us out of our element, that our ultimate goal is to win, and doing things that are unsportsmanlike aren't going to get us any closer to that goal.
Because in life, many things will not go your way, and by learning now to hold your head up high when defeated and stay humble after a victory will better influence your life for the years to come.
Postseason Sports brought to you by
Farmer State Bank, a strong history, a bright future.
Algona Livestock, sales every Monday.
American Glass, for all your glass needs, think American.
Dance Connection and Tumbling by Michelle, passionate about teaching, creative about dance.
Daylight Donuts, open early, serving freshly made donuts, rolls, and coffee.
Farm and Home Services, check their listings at farmhomeservices.com.
Holmes Animal Clinic, caring for your pets, big and small, they love them all.
Algona Frame and Auto Body, we meet by accident. Postseason Sports on Hometown Home Country Radio. Brought to you by
Style Salon, your salon in Algona. Create yourself.
Signworks for all your signage needs. Also printed shirts, caps, and jackets.
TAFE Wellness Center, Algona and Armstrong, keeping athletes in the game.
Billy Offerman, your State Farm insurance agent in Algona.
Lichter's Garage Door Service, a reputation you can trust.
Good Samaritan Society of Algona, senior housing and services rooted in God's love.
Schindler Lawn Care and Landscaping.
The Water Connection, from softeners to bottled water and service. Introducing the new Massey Ferguson 1M Series Compact Tractor. Built for long work days and demanding jobs, it combines rugged durability with unbeatable comfort. Experience a deluxe cab, air suspended seats, and advanced lighting that will keep you going longer. From snow removal to landscaping, the 1M Series powers through any task with ease. Learn more at MasseyFerguson.com or visit Carroll Implement in Laverne.
Hey Bulldog fans, this is Coach Chad Schlegel, and you're listening to Algona Bulldog Baseball on KLGA Hometown Radio.
Live from the Harlan Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge, it's postseason baseball action in Class 3As. Today, the Algona Bulldogs take on the Charles City Comets in a game that's been moved about a 50-minute drive south of its original location. But we're getting this game in today, and that is what matters, as the Bulldogs are the home team for this one. Aiden Ulrich taking the hill for Algona. Now, Ulrich on the season has pitched in 9 games, 7 of them starts. The senior has a 4-2 record and a 2.01 ERA. Ulrich, with 38 in the third innings pitched, 68 strikeouts compared to 10 walks. His opposing hitters are hitting 173 against him, but he's the guy to watch today for Algona. As we'll detail during this broadcast, the final 2 starts of the regular season did not go the way Ulrich wanted to, so today's the day for him to try to get back on track and help deliver the Bulldogs to a postseason win over the Charles City Comets. Meanwhile, for the Comets, they will have the leadoff hitters in their batting order: Vinny Benning, the center fielder; Holden McEnroy, the number 2 hitter, shortstop; and Cam Littleton, the catcher, batting third. 1-2-3 here to start off the top of the first, with Zachary Scheck coming up if anyone reaches base. So for the third time this season, it is Charles City against Algona. Comets out of the Northeast Iowa Conference, but that conference will be dissolving very soon, and Charles City will eventually become a member of the North Central Conference alongside the Bulldogs. But for this year, it's a couple of non-conference teams that saw each other during the regular season back on July 3rd as the Bulldogs swept a doubleheader over the Charles City Comets. Well, compared to some of the muggy weather we've had lately, it's actually not too bad here in Fort Dodge. 73 degrees is your current temperature. Cloudy skies, a little bit of blue sky mixed into the clouds, but mostly cloudy skies prevailing here. Could see a little light rain here today. Hopefully nothing to disrupt the game, but if it does, the good news is it's a turf field here at Harlan Rogers, so if there's any disruption, the game should be able to get back underway very quickly. So we moved the game down here to Fort Dodge for today, and the important thing is we're getting it in here today as the winner in this one will play again on Monday night. So with that, we will get into tonight's ball game. Vinny Benning leading things off for Charles City, the right-handed hitting center fielder against Aiden Ulrich. Now Benning on the season hitting .342, a lone Comet hitter above .300 as he bats out of a squared right-handed stance, about halfway up in the box. Ulrich into the motion, works first base side of the rubber in today's first pitch. Inside to Benning for ball 1, and we are underway from the Harlan Rogers Complex in Fort Dodge. Charles City wearing the black uniforms here today as Ulrich winds and delivers. And pitch downstairs to Benning, 2-0 count. They have the pinstripes up and down the uniform in white. The white comets on the front of the flame coming out of the sea. As Ulrich motions and brings the 2-0 pitch, Benning a ground ball towards second base, right into the glove of Schucher, who throws to first base, and that is in time for out number 1, as Benning, the top batting average hitter for Charles City, is retired for the first out of the ball game, as Ulrich not damaged there by falling behind 2-0 in the count. So 1 out to nobody on base, and Holden McEnroy, the shortstop, now to the plate for Charles City. McEnroy hitting 197 on the season, which, unfortunately for the Comet lineup, that's about what they've done as a team this year. Their team batting average is 198, which is last in the Northeast Iowa Conference. McEnroy also bats out of a squared stance inside part of the box as Ulrich buzzes the tower for first pitch fastball up and in for ball 1. Defensively, Algona has Slagle behind home plate, Weir at third base, Eischen at short, Schucher at second, and Ulrich at first. Elsbecker in left, Walker in center, and Garmin in right, as McEnroy watches a fastball in there for a called strike, 1-1. When these teams matched up in a doubleheader at the end of the regular season, Aiden Ulrich did not pitch in either of those 2 games, so Charles City seeing him for the first time this year. 1-1 pitch, there is a cut and a miss for a strike, and the count 1-2. Last year, when Algona defeated Charles City 11-2 in the first game of the regular season, Aiden Ulrich was the winning pitcher in that game, as the Comets saw him last year. 1-2 pitch, ground ball third base side, foul territory, and we'll do it again if a 1-2 count. Outfield playing McEnroy, medium deep and towards left center field. Dimensions here at the Holland Rogers Sports Complex at their baseball diamond. It's 302 down the left field line, 385 to dead center, and 315 to right field. Ulrich offers up the 1-2 pitch and popped up right side of the infield. Moving over is the first baseman Mason Ulrich, and he will backpedal and make the grab for out number 2 of the inning. So a little soft contact so far for Charles City, a ground out to second base and a pop out to first, and it's a 2 up, 2 down for the first 2 hitters in the batting order for the Comets. With that, we'll see if their number 3 hitter can get on base here to start off the bottom of the first of 2 outs. Cam Littleton, their catcher, as the sophomore batting 203 on the season, 6 RBI for the Comets. Bats out of a crouched and squared right-handed stance, waving the bat above the back shoulder as Ulrich misses up and in at the fastball for ball 1. Early on, Ulrich really trying to work the inside corner of the fastball, but a lot of those misses up and in. But you don't want Charles City to get comfortable in the batting box. You want them to deal with the inside heat of Ulrich as the 1-0 pitch. Fastball grounded towards the right side, coming over is Mason Ulrich. Aiden Ulrich off the mound, foot race to the bag, and he tags the bag ahead of the base runner. Good job by Aiden Ulrich, hustling over to first base as he receives the throw from Mason, and it's a 1-2-3 first inning for Charles City. The Comets do not score, and the Bulldogs will bat next on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube live stream.
AMU wishes our local teams good luck in postseason play. The hard work our ball players put in is reflected in their success on the field. AMU follows the same game plan when providing great services for our customers. AMU employees work as a team to provide reliable and affordable services to our community. When you need electric, water, cable TV, high-speed internet, or telephone services, hit a home run with Algona Municipal Utilities. Community-owned for community benefit.
Kasuth Regional Health Center is your home for recovery care. I'm occupational therapist Ben Krause, ready to help you with recovery care. We work with a wide range of patients, helping them get back to the task of daily living and doing the things they want to do. Come home to recover with Kasuth Regional Health Center. Find us online at krhc.com or call 295-2451.
Kasuth Regional Health Center, your home for health care.
We welcome you back to Fort Dodge as it's the bottom of the first inning. No score between Charles City and Algona as the Comets went down 1-2-3 in the top of the first. This inning, Algona will have Dawson Elsbecker, Tate Slagle, and Tate Garmin 1-2-3 in the batting order against the freshman pitcher Ethan Hadley. Hadley has pitched in 7 games this season with 3 starts. His record, no wins and 3 losses, and his ERA, 5.35. Hadley has thrown 18 1/3 innings with 7 strikeouts and 18 walks. Opposing hitters batting .293 against Ethan Hadley. Another young player here on this very young Charles City team. Not a lot of upperclassmen here for Charles City, so you would imagine that they were going to turn to someone with a bit of inexperience on the mound, and they do that with Hadley, as he will face the 1-2-3 hitters in this Bulldog batting order. Dawson Elsbecker, who we talked about in the pregame of Coach Slagle, having an excellent season for Algona as the sophomore is batting .380 with a .488 on-base percentage, 16 RBI in the season. He has walked 19 times compared to 17 strikeouts as he'll start off the bottom of the first inning here in Fort Dodge. Overcast skies, like you mentioned, as Hadley works solely from the stretch. He'll come set hands on the belt and bring the first pitch at the bottom of the first. Elsbecker rolls it over on the first offering towards third base. It is vacuumed in by Sheck. His throw to first base is in time to beat Elsbecker, who got badly jammed on that pitch. Couldn't get around on it and rolled it over to third base, as that'll be out number 1 of the inning. 1 pitch, 1 out for Ethan Hadley, and an excellent way for the freshman to try to settle into this postseason game against the Bulldog lineup. But you can't really settle in here when Tate Schlegel's coming to the plate. The senior for Algona hitting .505 on the season, 9 homers and 44 RBI. Bats out of an open right-handed stance. Algona wearing the red uniforms today. Dogs on the front, DAWGS. In cursive and underlined as the pitch is in tight to Schlegel. He backs out of the way in the count 1-0. Bulldogs have the white uniform pants with the red stripe down the side. They have the black baseball caps with the red A on it and the red brim on the front. Lettering and numbering on the front and back of the jerseys is in white. The 1-0 to Schlegel, and Schlegel rockets that one high in the air towards left field, but he got underneath it. As settling underneath it is Rosiska, and he'll put it away for out number 1 of the inning. Boy, that was a power swing by Schlegel the way that ball left the bat, and that was a mile up in the air, but that one will die out there in left field for out number 2 of the inning, and a sigh of relief breathed by the pitcher, Ethan Hadley. And good job in left field, too, by Rosiska to judge that correctly. Sometimes when you see a swing like that, your initial impulse is to race back and sprint as quickly as you can, but he judged that well and caught it in fairly deep left field as Tate Garman takes an inside offering, down and in for a ball, 1-0 count. Tate Garman on the season for the Bulldogs has appeared in 15 games for .429 batting average, 1 homer, 11 runs knocked in as Hadley tries to match Ulrich with a scoreless first. 1-0 to Garman. There's a rip job down the third baseline. Fair. That'll roll towards left field corner. Garman can fly. He'll go around first base, and he will sprint towards second. He's there easily with a double. So Garman gets the 2-out base runner aboard for the Bulldogs, and now Aiden Ulrich will have a chance to help out his own cause. Runner on second base, 2 away. And Ulrich, the pitcher, coming to the plate. Senior batting .321, 4 homers and 29 RBI in the season. As Ulrich not going to be done after the postseason. He'll be off to Central College to continue his baseball career. Right-handed batter, wears the shin guard on the front leg, bats out of an open stance, just off the back of the right-handed box. Hadley trying to work around a base runner as Ulrich had a big cut and fouled it back to the screen. He saw a hanger there and he fouled it off as the count is 0-1. A Charles City outfield playing Ulrich towards left center field. Of course, here at Harlan Rogers, you have the big green monster in left field. This field having some aspects that are similar to Fenway Park in Boston. As the 0-1 pitch, Ulrich dribbles it foul, third base side, and he's behind in the count 0-2. You have that tall left field wall, and that whole wall is in play, so you've got to clear it to get a home run, but Bulldogs do have a couple of power right-handed hitters, so they'll try to dent that left field wall today, but it's the high left field wall out to left center, then the wall goes down to a normal height in center and right field. 0-2 pitch. Up and in on the breaking ball, gets away from Littleton, and going to third base is Tate Garman. Hadley tried to bend a curveball in there, but it didn't curve, and it just went over the head of Ulrich for a ball as Garman goes to third base on that errant offering. Ulrich nearly got hit on the back of the batting helmet by that, but was able to duck out of the way. Ulrich closes off his stance of a 1-2 count. Chokes up a little bit on the bat as he tries to put it in play now. 1-2 pitch. That ball is flying high in the air towards left field. Rosiska going back. Has room in front of the fence, though, and he will leap and put it away as he almost misjudged the ball. So the Bulldogs get a runner to third base, but they do not score as Ulrich flies down to left field to end the inning. No score between Charles City and Algona. Second inning coming up next on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube channel.
When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at MoneyPass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC.
Some of the most significant power outages in recent years have been caused by severe storms. Whether it's lightning, hail, or extreme wind, don't be caught in the dark. At Murphy Farm Services, our top-of-the-line Generac or Cummins generators will automatically power your home in the event of a power loss. Financing's now available. Already have a standby generator? Call us today to get on our preventative maintenance list to ensure your machine is running at its maximum efficiency. Contact your local certified ag electrical and generator sales and service dealer. Murphy Farm Services, delivering the power you need when you need it.
As we come back to the Harlan Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge, no score between the Algona Bulldogs and the Charles City Comets here on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream. Charles City with hitters number 4, 5, and 6, Zachary Scheck, Sawyer Hansen, and Micah Thompson, the hitters this inning for Charles City, 4, 5, and 6 after Ulrich set the batting order down 1, 2, 3 in the first. First pitch to Scheck, cut on and missed for strike one. Ulrich laid the fastball over and Scheck got after it but couldn't make contact as the count 0-1 on the number 4 hitter. Scheck batting .215, 7 RBI in the season as he attacks the next pitch and pops it up right side of the infield. Out to the outfield goes Schucher. He's backpedaling and he makes the catch. Boy, that would have been an easier play for either the center fielder or the right fielder, but Schucher ended up calling for it and putting it away on the back pedal for out number 1 of the inning. So out number 1 is recorded. 4 up, 4 down so far for Ulrich, as Sawyer Hansen will be the batter for Charles City. Hansen, the junior, batting .134 on the season for the Comets. So far, Comets are putting the ball in play against Ulrich, but very soft contact to pop-outs and groundouts. There's a ball hit into left center field on the line, and that one's going to drop down for a base hit. Ulrich cut it off as the center fielder Walker, and Hansen got right after the first pitch by Ulrich and lines it softly into left center field for a base hit. So runner to first base for Charles City. 1 away here in the top half of 2, and the batter will be Micah Thompson, their first baseman. Looking at Thompson's stats on the season, he's hit .195, 2 RBI for the Comets. They're not wanting to spot Ulrich strike 1 and strike 2. They're getting after the early fastballs as Ulrich will work from the stretch for the first time. First base side of the pitching rubber. Very small lead by Hansen. The kick and the pitch. Hansen is running. Slagel's up throwing. He double clutches. He throws to second base, and the throw is high and safe as Hansen. Boy, they had Sawyer Hansen dead to rights. I think Slagle was almost surprised that he's running to second base because he double clutched on that ball, and then even with that, he could have still gotten him at second base with a good throw, but the throw was too high as Hansen slid in underneath it. Charles City moves a runner to second base. And on the Comets, I am doing that just about every time I get a runner on today. I mean, you just look at the stats. It's been tough on the season for the Comets to score, only hitting .198, so you know that the chances of getting 3-4 hits in a row against Ulrich is going to be tough. You'd rather try to get a runner to scoring position and maybe just manufacture something here against the Bulldogs, play a little small ball. Comets, they're only scoring 3.2 runs per game. Algona only allowing 3.7 runs per game. So runs could be tough to come by. Runner at second of 1 out. The next pitch to Thompson, and a cut and a miss. He's behind on the count. No balls, 2 strikes. You look at this Bulldog pitching staff. They have struck out 285 batters this year. That is second in both Class 3A and all classes in the state. Only Class 3A Saydell has struck out more. 0-2 pitch. Just missed. Ulrich tried to outside corner for a fastball, but count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tate Slagle, who I'm sure Bulldogs will employ at some point this postseason, with 108 strikeouts to lead the team. Number 2 in the state. As there's a swing, and it's by Thompson. Aiden Ulrich powered it past him, and he has his first strikeout of the game. Runner still at second base. Now 2 away in the top half of the second inning. Luke Jacobs, the designated hitter, will step in. Runner at second base, 2 outs for Charles City. As Jacobs batting .180, 8 RBI in the season, hits out of an open stance, wearing the black cleats, as he has the bat just an inch above that back shoulder. Ulrich stretching the pitch. Jacobs, a late swing on the fastball, and he's behind in the count, 0-1. A little bit of sunshine showing through here in Fort Dodge. As Ulrich holds the hands belt high. Middle infielders creep close to the base runner to try to keep him close to the bag, as that pitch is up high for a ball on the fastball. Count goes to 1 ball, 1 strike. A little bit of a breeze today, not a whole lot, but the breeze we do have blowing left to right across the diamond. Charles City trying to get on the board first in the top of the second. Ulrich with the 1-1 pitch. And that one finds the zone for a called strike. Count goes to 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bulldog outfield, medium deep. Although the left fielder, Elsbecker, is a bit deeper out there. But that left field wall, it's a bit shorter, so it does make the left fielder appear a bit deeper with that green monster out there. 1-2 count on Jacobs. Ulrich's pitch. And missed just a bit upstairs for a ball. Good take by Jacobs. Count evens at 2-2. Ethan Hadley, the pitcher in the on-deck circle for Charles City. Ulrich shakes off the sign of Slagle. Now he has what he wants. The Bulldog senior with the 2-2 pitch. Line first base side, and that is close but foul. Boy, Jacobs had a late swing there, and he nearly put that ball into the right field corner, but pushed it just a little bit foul. The Charles City first base coach was trying to convince the home plate umpire it was fair, but that was foul pretty clearly, but not by a lot, as Jacobs stays alive with a 2-2 count. Ulrich from the first base side of the pitching rubber. Here's his 2-2 offering. Up and in. Jacobs leans back on the fastball. That'll wake you up here on this Friday afternoon, folks. You see an Aiden Ulrich heater coming up and in, and the count goes to 3 balls, 2 strikes. Hadley still waiting on deck for Charles City. Comets trying to have some tough at-bats here against Ulrich. They put a runner on second base. And time called at home plate by Luke Jacobs. Comets only scored 1 run in the doubleheader combined between the two games when they saw Algona earlier this season, back on July 3rd. Here's the 3-2 from Ulrich. And Jacobs with a sky-high pop third base side. That one's going to be close to the boundary. Looking for it is Weir, and he finds it in front of the Charles City dugout. Weir makes the catch, and the inning comes to an end. Charles City, no runs, 1 hit, 1 left on base, and the score stays tied at 0-0. It'll be the Bulldogs' turn to bat next on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
2 of the biggest investments most people will make in a lifetime are your home and vehicles. Rest easy knowing that they are well protected with proper insurance from Central Financial Group. We offer a comprehensive and specialized approach to protecting your belongings from everyday disaster. As an independent insurance agent, we work side by side with multiple companies to make sure you are getting the proper coverage at a proper price. Visit your local Central Financial Group office in Algona, Emmitsburg, Wesley, or Britt. Central Financial Group, where you belong.
At Red Power, your local Case IH dealer, they want you to put the very best into your machine so you can get the very best out of your machine. Choose to use Case IH genuine parts. Only Case IH genuine parts are specifically engineered to fit and function properly with your Case IH equipment. They deliver the performance your business demands while giving you the durability your schedule depends on. So when you want to maximize your performance, go to the original Case IH genuine parts. Visit your local Red Power team in Bancroft, Corwith, West Bend, or Humboldt.
Back here from the Harlan Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge. No score between the Algona Bulldogs and Charles City Comets as freshman Ethan Hadley goes back to work for Charles City. Algona with hitters number 5, 6, and 7 in the batting order. Mason Ulrich, Aiden Engel, and Jackson Eischen this inning for the Bulldogs. Mason Ulrich, a sophomore, batting .316, 1 homer, 22 runs knocked in on the season as the Bulldogs trying to get this offense clicking. It's been a feast or famine offense as of late for Algona. They've had some games where they've really binged on the run scoring, and a few games as of late, too, where they've had issues scoring runs. The pitch is up and away for a ball, 1-0 count. Bulldogs dropped that final game of the regular season, 11-1 against Mason City, to end the regular season 22-8. The Bulldogs are trying to get this offense going against the Charles City pitching staff that has compiled an 8.20 ERA on the season as Ulrich attacks first pitch and pops it high in the air to shallow left field. Out is the shortstop McEnroy. McEnroy battling, and he will make the catch. Backing up a step towards the left field area as Ulrich is retired on the pop out. Well, early in this game, and this can certainly be a temptation for the right-handed hitters, we're seeing a lot of big swings by the Bulldog righties. You see that big green monster in left field screaming your name, and everyone's thinking, let's drive one to left field, hit one off the monster, hit one over. But a few of the Bulldog hitters are just taking some cuts that are maybe just a little bit too big. As the first pitch inside to Aiden Engel, don't know how that one didn't hit him. In fact, Engel was tapping his front thigh, saying that grazed him on the way by, but the home plate umpire said, not so fast, young man. He will stay at home plate, and the count 1-0. Engel, the .286 hitter, 1 homer, 22 runs driven in for the junior, who stands right on top of home plate. And that one is inside, and that did plug him. Well, if there's any doubt about the first one, that one definitely hit Aiden Engel, and he'll be on first base with 1 out here in the top half of the second inning. Now Jackson Eischen for the Bulldogs. Eischen batting .364, a homer and 14 runs driven in. A lot of different Bulldogs have homered this year. In fact, 17 home runs as a team for Algona. That is number 2 in Class 3A behind Marion, who's hit 18. So Bulldogs right there amongst the best in the state. A lot of that a credit to the 9 homers that Tate Slagle's hit, but several other guys have the pop to drive one out if you make a mistake. Hadley, pick off to first base and diving back in his angles. The ball dropped over there by Thompson. Not a huge lead for Engel, but a quick pickoff by the right-hander Hadley as the outfield plays Eischen towards left center field. 1 out, 1 on for the Bulldogs. Bottom of the second inning from the Harlan Rogers complex. Hadley stretching the pitch, and he pours that one over the inside corner for a called strike, 0-1. Well, when he talked to Coach Schlegel in the pregame interview, you heard the word consistency a lot, and I think that's the story for the Bulldogs and what they need to do this postseason. And it's easy to say, harder to do is Hadley spins towards first base, but doesn't make the throw as Engel dives back in. You look at the way this season's played out, Algona came in as a team with some of the highest expectations in the state, and why not for the kind of pitching they had returning. The 0-1 pitch, Eischen watching, and that one paints the inside corner for a called strike, and the count 0-2. The Bulldogs started off winning a lot of games. They were 14-1 to begin the season, but since that time, 8 wins and 7 losses. So, like I said, it's been a roller coaster ride the final couple weeks of the season for the Bulldogs. Some highs, some lows, and not the consistency you want to see. Is there's a close play at first base. Hadley firing another pickoff over there, and Engel barely getting back in ahead of the tag of Thompson. Count 0-2 on Eischen, and Hadley's made more pickoff throws to first base than pitches to home as he's really trying to keep Engel close. Engel does have a bigger lead than he did initially, though. As Engel's running on the 0-2, Eischen taking. Littleton throw to second base, and it's off target to the shortstop side, and Engel overslid the bag, but he got back in. Boy, did the Bulldogs catch a break there. This turf, it is wet because it rained earlier today, and Engel went sliding like a slip and slide on the turf. He went past second base and then had to cradle his way around the tag of Rosiska out there, and he barely got back to the bag as he overslid second. That's something to watch. It rained earlier today, so this turf is going to be very slippery. As the 1-2 pitch, breaking ball outside, and then it goes to the backstop. Engel can walk to third base if he wants to, and the count now 2-2 to Eischen. Boy, how big is that? Charles said he could have made it 2 outs, nobody on base. And now you have 2 opportunities here to try to drive in Engel from third. Eischen, though, has to work here for 2-2 count. Ryan Weir on deck after him. Hadley hands belt high. 2-2 pitch. Off-speed offering stays up high for a ball on the count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Comets on the season, they've allowed 267 runs, the 5th most allowed in Class 3A. Trying to keep the Bulldogs off the scoreboard early here. 3-2 pitch, ground ball third base side, and that one's just foul. We've seen a couple of balls that were hit both down the third base and first base line that did not miss by much, but just missed outside of the bag. So 3-2 count. Eischen continuing to battle here, looking for a ball in play if man on third and less than 2 outs. Charles said he keeps the infield back at normal depth. The third baseman check, maybe about even of the bag. Everyone else back behind the base. Hadley throws a pickoff to third as Engel dives back in. That's the other thing of turf. Not that you'd bring the infield in this early in the game, but if you do want to bring the infield in, you don't have to bring it in as far because that ball will get on top of you in a hurry on this turf field. The grass certainly won't kill it, as Eischen ground ball towards third base, knocked down on the backhand by Sheck. His only place to throw to first base, and the throw is off the bag. Runner comes home to score for the Bulldogs, and it's an RBI single for Jackson Eischen. 1-0 Algona. That was initially a great play by Sheck to knock down that ball on the backhand. Otherwise, that one is heading into the left field corner for a double, but he couldn't get the throw off of a whole lot behind it, and the throw pulled the first baseman off the bag anyways. Eischen has the RBI, so Sheck did everything he could, but ultimately Eischen beats the play at first base, and the Bulldogs lead at 1-0 in the bottom half of the second. Now here's Ryan Weir, right-hander batting out of a closed stance as Eischen takes off. Weir swinging and dribbling at foul. I think that one dinged him in the batter's box as he's gimping around after that swing. Eischen still thinks he stole second, and the field umpire saying, "You got to go back to first, my friend. You cannot stay there at second on the foul ball." But that's what you do if you're not sure. You stay at the bag you're at until the umpire tells you to go back. You don't want to listen to those middle infielders saying, "Hey, you got to go back." Weir hitting .291. He has 26 runs driven in. As another pickoff to first base by Hadley, and not in time as Eischen goes back in standing. Bulldogs this year put together a .332 batting average. That was first in the NCC, a .460 on-base percentage, which ranked 5th in Class 3A. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that is up and in, and that's going to be a balk. That is going to be a balk on Hadley as Eischen will get a chance to go to second base. So another runner in scoring position for the Bulldogs, and the double play is now off as Hadley will balk the man to second. And sometimes you just wonder as a pitcher, He's paying so much attention to the runners at first base. With all those pickoffs over there and the times he stepped off the mound, that sometimes you get a little out of whack when you're coming to home plate, as he will balk Eischen into scoring position. Count 0-1 on Weir, as that is a looping breaking ball that caught the zone for a strike, and the count 0-2 in the Bulldog senior. Sam Schucher in the on-deck circle. Just hitting the 4 o'clock hour here on Hometown Radio KLGA Algona, 92.7 FM, and the Algona Radio YouTube stream. 1-0 Algona, bottom of the second, as Hadley takes a long look in. The Charles City right-hander off the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss by Weir for strike 3. So Weir extinguished for the second out of the inning, and Hadley will try to keep this at 1 run. Runner still at second baseman now, 2-away for the Bulldogs as the number 9 hitter Sam Schucher stands in. The junior with 8 hits and 24 at-bats this season, a .333 batting average, 10 RBI for Schucher. Bats out of a narrow and squared right-handed stance as Hadley works from the stretch with a man on second. Outfield stays pulled around towards left center field for Schucher as Elsbecker waits on deck. Schucher attacks the first pitch, dribbles it towards third base. Scheck charges, he gloves, he lobs it to first base. High throw, and it pulled the first baseman off the bag. Schucher is safe, and the Bulldogs have runners at the corners. Scheck was just a little too casual on that. He charged in like he needed to grab that ball, but once he threw it, instead of stepping into it and getting his weight behind the throw, just kind of lobbed it over there to first base. And that throwing error to pull the first baseman off the bag will allow the inning to continue, as Charles City will have a visit at the mound right now. So not what you wanted to do if you're Charles City, to bring a .380 hitter to the plate with 2 outs when the inning should have been over. That does mean if any more runs score this inning, they will be unearned against the starting pitcher, Ethan Hadley. And a lot of times when you have a team that's inexperienced or young or hasn't had a ton of wins on the season, a lot of times it does start on the defensive side of the ball. Charles City, no exception there, unfortunately, as they've committed 92 errors on the season. That one being number 93. So it'll give Elsbecker a chance to bat. And should Elsbecker get on base, it'll give Tate Slagle a chance to bat as well. So this is the part of the batting order that, even with the ups and downs of the Bulldogs, you pretty much know what you're getting out of the top 4 with Elsbecker, Slagle, Garman, and Ulrich. And you throw in Mason Ulrich at the number 5 spot as well. But it's when those 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters are getting on base, really for any team, that's when your offense is really going to blossom, and that's what's made this inning a good inning for the Bulldogs. You start off with the number 6 hitter Aiden Angle getting hit by a pitcher for 1 out, then the number 7 hitter Jackson Eischen has a single. Even if the 8 hitter Ryan Weir striking out, Sam Schucher, the 9 hitter, he puts a ball in play, and Charles City, for the miscue on defense, to put runners at the corners. So Hadley will try to pick up the defense. Elsbecker batting on the inside part of the box. Takes down and away for a ball, and it's a 1-0 count. Elsbecker hits to the back of the box. His feet right up on the inside chalk of the right-handed box as well, with that back foot on the back line of the box. Schucher at first, Eischen at third. The pickoff goes to first base, as diving back in Schucher. Well, now if you're Hadley, you've got to be a little careful here of throwing a pickoff to first base. You throw one away here, and the Bulldogs will lead it 2-0. So you've got to make sure if you're throwing over there, you know that you're going to put one on target to the first baseman Thompson. The 1-0 pitch, runners stay. Pitch gets away from Littleton, and no read at third base for Eischen. Schucher moves up to second base, but Eischen wasn't able to get a jump at third, so he decided to just stay there. That's the other thing as well. On a passed ball around pitch here at Harlan Rogers, because the backstop behind home plate and the whole field is turf, that means the ball may deflect right back to the catcher, so it's not automatic that you can get home on a wild pitch. You've got to read it well, which Eischen did not on that one, as he had to stay at third base, didn't get the early jump. The 2-0 pitch. Elsbecker watching, and that one dips down for a ball, 3-0 count. Well, I can guarantee you the last thing Hadley wants to do is walk Elsbecker out of Tate Slagle, but he's in danger of doing just that. 3-0 count. Runners at second and third for the Bulldogs, leading at 1-0. As the freshman Hadley for the stretch. And the 3-0 offering. And he'll lay that one over the zone for a called strike. 3 balls, 1 strike. Elsbecker 16 RBI on the season, with a chance for 17 and 18 potentially on a base hit to the outfield. Charles City playing deep in the outfield and towards left center for Elsbecker. 3-1 pitch. Elsbecker rolls that one foul third base side towards the Charles City dugout, and the count full 3-2. Elsbecker saw an inside pitch that he wanted to grip and rip. That one may have even been a ball. It was so far inside, but he tried to get around on it and rolled it foul. As the count now full 3-2, Hadley trying to battle back into the at-bat. Here's Hadley's payoff pitch. Elsbecker ground ball up the middle, and that one is through into center field for a base hit. Eischen will score. Shooter being waved around. He is sprinting to the plate, and the relay throw is cut off. 2-run single by Dawson Elsbecker, and the Bulldogs make Charles City pay for the error. 3-0 Algona. Elsbecker for RBIs, number 17 and 18 on the season, and Tate Slagle will get a chance to bat if a man on base. 3-0 Algona, and when the postseason comes around, you hear coaches say it all the time, it's the small things. Charles City did not do the small things. They had a chance to be out of this inning, but the 2-out error keeps it alive, and Dawson Elsbecker for the 2-run base hit. Bulldogs jump in front 3-0 in the bottom of 2. And we will see Charles City. Looks like they're going to make a pitching change here, so Ethan Hadley, he's going to be done for the day after throwing 30 pitches in this one. A new pitcher coming in for Charles City. We'll take a quick timeout and tell you about the new pitcher coming up next on Hometown Radio KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube channel.
Sure, you can shop the big box stores if you just want to be a number, but if you want knowledgeable staff with personalized customer service, you need to shop local at North Iowa Appliance Center. They go that extra mile to make sure prices are competitive, and they focus on stocking high-quality, reliable appliances from trusted brands. The roots of this family business began 47 years ago, and they're still going strong today. North Iowa Appliance Center, Highway 18 East in Algona, where they sell the best and service the rest, carrying Maytag, KitchenAid, Whirlpool, and Amana.
Where you bank matters. Hi, I'm Sherry Bacon at Security State Bank, and we're relationship bankers. We get to know our customers and understand their financial needs. We're locally owned and operated, which means family, community, and service always comes first. So come to Security State Bank. We'll treat you like family. Security State Bank in Algona, Burt, and Laverne. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Security State Bank.
As we come back, it's a new pitcher for the Charles City Comets, as Ethan Hadley's day is done after an inning and 2/3. The new pitcher for Charles City, that is going to be their previous shortstop, Holden McEnroy. Now, McEnroy has only pitched out of the bullpen this season, but he's given Charles City some pretty good innings out of that pen. 10 appearances by McEnroy and an 0-1 record, but McEnroy has an ERA of 2.39, 14 2/3 innings pitched by McEnroy, 14 strikeouts and 6 walks, and opponents batting .283 against him. So he'll try to limit this to just 3 runs for Algona, but Tate Slagle comes to the plate. The dangerous shortstop for the Bulldogs. Dawson Elsbecker hitting a 2-run single to chase Ethan Hadley from the game after an inning and 2/3. As Brennan Rosiska is coming from left field, as Rosiska is now playing at the shortstop position. I'll have to check to see who went to left field for Charles City, but Rosiska came in from left to play short. As Slagle takes that one in there for a called strike at the knees, and the count 0-1. Only 1 run against Hadley will be earned. Those last 2 were unearned due to the 2-out error by the Comets. As Charles City has about as close to a defensive shift, one of those old-school Major League Baseball shifts you'll see on the infield right now. The second baseman, Rosiska, is near the bag as there's a pickoff to first base, but diving back in is Elsbecker. The shortstop and third baseman are about their normal positions, but the second baseman, Rosiska, he is playing almost directly behind the second base bag, just a step or 2 off to the right. Outfield's way around towards left center for the power-hitting Slagle. Slagle bats out of the wide-open stance, running as Elsbecker pitches up and in, and Littleton won't even throw. Elsbecker got a great jump. So Dawson Elsbecker takes second base, and the Bulldogs have another runner in scoring position, trying to really enforce their will here of 2 outs. So runner goes up to second base as McEnroy works from the stretch. His next delivery, and Slagle rips that one. Down the left field line it goes towards the corner, but he was a bit out in front, and it's foul. That one hopped the fence over the left field corner, and it didn't even seem like Slagle got all of that one, but was just a bit out in front as the count goes to 1-2. You may be thinking this is an early hook for Charles City, taking your starting pitcher out after an inning and 2/3, but in the postseason, everything goes. If you feel like the game's about to slip away, you've got to bring in your best bullpen arm to stop any damage, and that's what Charles City's doing. There is no tomorrow if you don't win today, and both teams know that. McEnroy shakes off the first sign from Littleton. The Charles City Jr. hands neck high, delivers, and a swing and a miss. He got Slagle to chase one up and away, and the inning is over. So McEnroy comes in and does his job striking out Slagle, but the Bulldogs strike for a couple of runs. They now lead at 3-0 on Hometown Radio KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
Postseason Sports brought to you by
Greg Penning and Company, certified public accountants where everyone counts.
Dump It, commercial and residential garbage service.
Weichert Realtors, the 515 Agency.
Neil Albert Electric, flip the switch to Albert Electric.
Grassmasters, growing satisfied customers.
Erpelding Boyd and Company CPAs, they're not just about taxes.
Glenn's Green Thumb, from a small seed, something beautiful will grow.
Tom Eischen Sales, Toro, Steel, and Green Mountain Grills, your store in the country on Highway 18 west of Algona. Postseason Sports on the radio brought to you by
Phil's Auto and Truck Repair, getting you back on the road.
High Point Land Company, your premier destination for land transactions.
J&J Custom Meats, located in Whittemore.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 in Algona.
Tangle Salon, for all your cuts, colors, hair extensions, and massage therapy needs.
Ulrich Construction, let them do the work.
West Bend Ford, meeting your service, new and used car vehicle needs.
Hy-Vee, fill your cart, fuel your car with the Fuel Saver Plus Perks card.
And we'll bring you back into the Harlan Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge. Algona strikes for 3 runs in the bottom of the second inning. The Bulldogs leading the Charles City Comets 3-0 in Substate 3 first-round action as Aiden Orlick finishes his warm-up tosses. So far, Orlick has faced 7 batters. Comets with just 1 hit in the first 2 innings as Orlick has struck out 1, and he'll face hitters number 8, 9, and 1 in the Charles City batting order as Ethan Hadley, who was previously pitching but was pulled into the mound after an inning and 2/3. He'll be the batter to start off this inning for Charles City. Now, Hadley on the season, hitting .135 for the Comets, 6 RBI, bats out of a narrow and squared right-handed stance. As he waves that blue bat above his back shoulder, Orlick delivers the off-speed pitch for a called strike, 0-1. So Orlick with a little run support to work with now as the Bulldog right-hander worked extreme first base side of the rubber. His 0-1 pitch, and that one up and in for a ball, 1-1 count. If you're just tuning in and saying, why is this game taking place in Fort Dodge? Why is it not at Algona? The rains earlier today in our area made the field not playable today at Algona, so they moved this to a turf field. As that pitch is flared, shallow right field, going out a shooter, the second baseman. Coming in is the right fielder, and a running catch out and right by Garman. Boy, Garman ate up a lot of ground on that one as that ball looked destined to bloop in, but Hadley will fly out to shallow right field as Garman ate up the ground and records out number 1 of the inning. So number 9 hitter, Jackson Rosiska now to the plate for Charles City, as Rosiska batting .233 on the season. Rosiska's just one of 3 hitters in this Comet lineup, hitting above 200 on the year. As he'll step in, trying to turn it back over to Benning at the top of the order, as that one bends into the zone for a called strike, and the count is 0-1. So game moved to a turf field, as have been many other games around the state. The windup and the 0-1 pitch. Ground ball towards shortstop. Moving over and grabbing it is Eischen. He'll fire to first base, and he'll get the out there. Eischen waited back on that one maybe a touch longer than he would have wanted. Had to unload that quickly, but he does get the out, and it's a quick 2-up, 2-down for Ulrich, who's only thrown 29 pitches so far in this ball game as we play in the third. Now Vinny Benning, who grounded out to second base his first time up. Well, I think it's safe to say that coaches who are coaching postseason baseball would rather play a game today than push games back one day, because you're really thinking about pitching staff management for the rest of the postseason. And if you take one less day of rest, that really affects the pitch count rules and who can pitch in what game. So you really want as much rest between games as possible to keep your pitching staff options open should you win in a postseason game. That one is a cue shot foul first base side by Benning, and the count evens 1-1 strike. Of course, it's a little better for Algona than it is for some teams. When you have the devastating 1-2 of Ulrich and Slagle, you really trust both of them to win a postseason game, but there are some teams that you have one ace and there's a big drop-off after that, and how you manage that ace is a big question, as a breaking ball by Ulrich drops in to make the count 1-2. But even Algona, you're thinking, who do we want throwing against what team? If we win this game, who pitches next? What order do we want to go in? So you certainly have to consider a lot of factors when it comes to postseason pitching. The next pitch to Benning is hit hard towards center field. Walker's backpedaling. He's still going back, and he makes the catch. Benning gave that one a bit of a ride to center field, but Walker flags it down, and the Comets go 3 up, 3 down in the third inning. Algona continues to lead 3-0, moving to the bottom half of 3 from the Holland Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge.
Postseason Sports brought to you by
Feed Mill Coffee Company, your locally owned coffee shop in downtown Algona.
Cotton Grave Farm Management and Land Realty in downtown Algona. Trusted for farmland service needs since 1960.
Redding Gravel and Excavating, serving Algona and the surrounding area since 1948.
Steyr Ag Aviation, aerial and ground application agronomy service.
Lance and Tracy Ludwig, your Channel seed dealer in Wesley.
Lentz Funeral Home, someone who cares and understands.
Nielsen Trucking, your project is their priority.
JDRC to Wesley, your Whipple's seed dealer.
Looking for your next vehicle? Drive home happy with Kemna Auto Center, your hometown dealer for new GM, Ford, Jeep, and Ram models. Need something pre-owned? Kemna's got you covered with a great selection. Many Bravo certified, each with a multi-point inspection and limited warranty. From friendly sales and finance experts to world-class or master service technicians, Kemna's here to serve you. Stop by Highway 18 West in Algona or visit Kemna.com. Kemna Auto Center, an experience you deserve.
Hey Bulldog fans, this is Coach Chad Slagle, and you're listening to Algona Bulldog Baseball on KLGA Hometown Radio.
Bottom of the third inning in Fort Dodge. Substate 3 quarterfinal action between the Algona Bulldogs and Charles City Comets, as the Bulldogs lead it right now 3-0 on Hometown Radio KLGA, as the hitters this inning will be number 3 hitter Tate Garman, number 4 hitter Aiden Ulrich, and number 5 hitter Mason Ulrich for the Bulldogs. Garman, a double back of the first inning, although he was eventually stranded on base. Bulldogs all 3 of their runs in the second thus far. Of course, for you folks listening today, we're listening to the softball game yesterday when Algona took on Sheldon. You saw or heard the Bulldogs defeat Sheldon by a final count of 7-1, as there's the wind and the pitch by McEnroy. Tried the breaking ball, but it stayed upstairs to Garman. Count goes to 1-0. As the Bulldogs will see McEnroy from the windup for the first time today, as he came on if runners on base last inning. Got the final out by striking out Tate Slagle. McEnroy winds. Big leg kick in the pitch, and Garman fouls it off his foot at home plate. Count evens at 1-1. So Bulldogs softball team will play Sioux Center on Saturday night, as that game will be at 7 o'clock over on our sister station, KLGZ, 98.5 FM at AM 1600, with the video stream on our YouTube channel as well. McEnroy will wind it up. The Comet Jr. of the 1-1 pitch, and he skips that one in the turf for a ball, and the count goes to 2-1. But I mentioned during that game that we were going to go to the bullpen and call on Brian Wilson for this Bulldog baseball game against Charles City. Of course, that was due to our original plan, which was Brian would cover this game, and then I would cover the North Union softball game tonight against St. Edmund, as the 2-1 pitch, up for a ball, and the count goes to 3-1. Of course, the Warriors softball game against St. Edmund, that got rained out because the softball field here at Holland Rogers, that is not turf. That is grass and dirt like a normal field, so the field was not in playable condition today. 3-1 pitch by McEnroy above the head of Garman, and that'll be ball 4 as Garman works the leadoff walk for the Bulldogs. So runner aboard first base, nobody out for Algona, and that number 4 hitter, Aiden Ulrich, who flew out to left field his first time up, 0 for 1 today. So especially since I was planning to go to Fort Dodge anyways for that softball game, even if it's getting rained out, here I am now. So you get me instead of Brian today, but you still may hear from Brian later on this postseason, as we'll have plenty of action going forward from our area teams. So the pick off to first base, diving back in safely is Garman. McEnroy trying to fire a pickoff over there as he was unable to get the speedy Tate Garman. Garman gets out to a medium-sized lead at first base. McEnroy works middle of the pitching rubber, slide step in the pitch, in tight to Ulrich, and the count goes to 1 ball and no strikes. Whenever we call on Brian for a game, I like to say we're bringing Brian Wilson in out of the bullpen. Of course, if you watched Major League Baseball in the early 2010s, you will remember Brian Wilson, the San Francisco Giants reliever. Our Brian Wilson doesn't quite have the same type of beard that Brian Wilson of San Francisco had. As Garman runs on the pitch, it's in tight and it hits Ulrich. So Garman was going to steal second base. He got a great jump, but Ulrich gets hit by the pitch, and the Bulldogs will have runners at first and second. Nobody out on a chance to make some noise here in the third inning, already leading 3-0. Mason Ulrich, the first baseman, will pop up the shortstop his first time up. And Charles City will visit with McEnroy on the pitching mound. But if you don't know what San Francisco Brian Wilson looks like, Google him. And like I said, our Brian Wilson doesn't quite have his beard, but I guess San Francisco Brian Wilson wasn't as good of a news director as our Brian Wilson was. And And that's going to be it for McEnroy. So it's going to be a short outing today for Holden McEnroy, and Charles City will continue the carousel of pitchers. A new pitcher coming in. We'll tell you about him next on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
Postseason sports coverage brought to you by
Steyr Flooring, home of the Floorinator.
Jake Ingalls Electric, shockingly good service.
Thompson Sewer and Drain, septic service done right.
Electronic Specialties, North Iowa's communication professionals.
Prism Wealth Advisors, your roadmap to financial freedom.
Heartland Mutual Insurance, your trusted property insurer.
Murphy Realty and Management, serving Algona and the surrounding areas.
Cook Scrap Iron and Metal, home for all your welding and steel needs. Tournament sports coverage on Hometown Home Country Radio, brought to you by
Stroman Family Dental, giving you something to smile about.
Fairway Meat and Grocery, everything's easier, fresher, and faster with Algona Fairway.
Algona Manor Care Center, your home away from home with quality care.
Rothler Electric, don't be left in the dark.
From our homestead to yours, you'll find what you need at the Homestead Country Store.
Smithfield Foods, good food responsibly.
Linda K's Microwavable Meals, homemade dinners to go and catering services.
Miller Construction, proud supporter of student athletes.
A new pitcher entering the ballgame for the Charles City Comets. It'll be their third pitcher of the game as Noah White heads to the pitching rubber. White, a sophomore for Charles City, comes off the bench as he's pitched in 10 games this season, 9 of them starts. His record 0-6 and his ERA 5.62. White with 49 strikeouts and 22 walks. Opposing batters hitting .253 against White in 37 1/3 innings pitched. With that, it also brings on defensive changes for the Charles City Comets as McEnroy, the previous pitcher, now goes back to shortstop. Rosiska, who's at shortstop, heads to the bench. I'll just give you the entire Charles City defense, at least if I have my lineup cards straight here, because they made a few changes so far tonight. Littleton now behind home plate, Sheck at third base, McEnroy at shortstop, Rosiska at second, and Thompson at first. In left field, it's Hadley, Benning in center, and Hanson in right field as White, the new pitcher for Charles City. It'll be Mason Ulrich batting. 2 runners on base, nobody out for the Bulldogs as the inning opened up with a walk to Tate Garvin and a hit by pitch to Aiden Ulrich. And Charles City, they've been switching their pitchers in and out. Like I said, postseason game, anything goes. So they are yanking their pitchers to the first sign of struggle and getting the next guy in. White will work first base side of the pitching rubber. The sophomore from the stretch delivers to Ulrich. Attacks the first pitch and fouls it off. Ulrich had a good cut at that one, and the count goes to 0-1. Well, McEnroy, who just pitched, he's really a pure reliever for Charles City. He hasn't thrown a lot of innings this year. Like I said before, he pitched in 10 games prior to today, but only 14 2/3 innings, so he really doesn't throw more than an inning or two per game for Charles City, so he had a short outing today against the Bulldogs. The look towards second base by White. White's pitch as Ulrich is bunting, and he fouled it off behind home plate. So Ulrich does not get the bunt down, and he's behind in the count, 0-2. And whether Coach Tyler Downing and the Comets are thinking this or not, I do think maybe part of the strategy for the postseason when you're facing a team that's the favorite like Algona, Bulldogs the number 1 seed in the Substate, and Charles City the number 8 seed, you're thinking, hey, maybe if the Bulldog hitters don't see the same pitcher more than once, maybe that can help us out a little bit as White looks towards second base. He'll bring the 0-2 offering up and into Ulrich. It goes to the backstop. It bounces right back to Littleton. Throw to third base. And that throw will deflect off of Garmin as he is safe at third. That's that wild bounce on the turf. It hit the padding of the backstop, and then it shot right back to Littleton, who thought he had to play at third base. His throw contacted Garmin, who was safe on the play. But again, that's that situation that only happens here when you have a full turf diamond. There is no dirt or grass anywhere. It is all turf. Even the outfield. Even the base paths. 1-2 to Ulrich, and a swing and a miss. The big loopy breaking ball got him, and Ulrich heads back to the dugout. Runners stay at second and third. Now 1 out for the Bulldogs. But if you're Charles City, you're just hoping that something that you try sticks today against Algona. You're trying to keep the Bulldog hitters guessing. You see a different pitcher each time of different stuff. You force the hitters to adjust each time they see a new guy. You're just trying to make sure you keep the Bulldogs off balance any way you can, because when you're 1-26 like the Comets are and you're facing a 20-plus win team, you've just got to try things and see if it works here in the postseason. As the pitch to Aiden Engel upstairs for a ball, and it's a 1-0 count. So Bulldogs have an opportunity here still. Second and third, 1 out. And Engel, who was hit by a pitch his first time up, batting ahead in the count 1-0. Just 3 hits so far for Algona, but Couple of hit batsmen in a walk as the 1-0 pitch goes to the backstop and hesitating is Garmin. Charles City flips the home plate as Garmin goes back to third base. Mason Ulrich at second, or Aiden Ulrich that is at second, kind of got a late read. He went about halfway to third and then he realized, wait a minute, Garmin's putting on the brakes. I better go back to second, but Charles City wasn't going to throw to second base as they flipped home. That ball took a pretty good bounce off that padding behind home plate. As Littleton, the catcher, has been a busy man already for Charles City. Checking the runners is White. His 2-0 pitch. Engel watches, and that one is up at eye level. Count 3 balls, no strikes. After Engel, it'll be Jackson Eischen. Ryan Weir to follow for Algona. Trying to make this a big third inning. As they've scored 3 in the second so far, looking to punch through here in the third. 3-0 pitch to Engel. And he watches, and that one is upstairs for ball 4 as Aiden Engel draws the free pass. So no hits this inning for Algona, but they have the bases loaded on a pair of walks and a hit by pitch. And now with 1 out, Jackson Eischen bats. It's Garmin at third, Ulrich at second, Engel at first, and Eischen 1 for 1 today. Hit a ground ball right down the third base line that drove in a run back during the second inning, gave the Bulldogs a 1-0 lead in this one. The junior Eischen bats with the outfield playing him towards left center field. White will stay in the stretch with the bases loaded. Force play at every base for Charles City. Pitch to Eischen, and that one graces the inside quarter for a called strike. 0-1. These are the opportunities where the Bulldogs really need to come through in the postseason. We talked about the inconsistencies towards the end of the regular season. 8-7 in their final 15 games. When you play in the postseason and hopefully play multiple games, you're a Bulldog fan. These are the types of spots against really good teams you've got to come through against, as Eischen cuts and misses, and the count 0-2. If you beat Charles City here today, you could find yourself in a game against the likes of someone like Humboldt or Clear Lake or Boone or who knows later down in the bracket where you're playing a close game, say 6th-inning tie game, bases loaded. Those are the kind of pressure spots that the Bulldogs hope to be in later this postseason, as they were last postseason as well. White ahead 0-2 in the count. His next pitch, Eischen, hard ground ball towards shortstop. McEnroy gets to it, and he hesitates, and he's not going to have a play anywhere. He threw to first base, but it was well late, and it's another infield single by Jackson Eischen. It's 4-0 Bulldogs. That ball was deep in the hole at shortstop. McEnroy got to it, but he double clutched on the ball, and once he did that, there was no chance to get an out. Run comes home to score. Everyone else goes up station to station. Aiden Ulrich now at third base. Aiden Engel at second, and Jackson Eischen at first with his second RBI of the ball game. Eischen now with 16 RBI in the season as Ryan Weir bats. So Bulldogs just trying to keep the line moving here. Ball and play like Eischen did, brought home a run. We'll see if Weir can do the same thing. 1 out. White delivers. And that one fouled back to the screen. And the count 0-1. That's the kind of thing that'll drive a pitcher crazy as well, because he didn't make a bad pitch that time. He induced a soft ground ball in the infield. But again, the defense for Charles City, that's not an error, but that's a play that needs to be at least 1 out somewhere, especially if force plays all around the bases. White, especially if you're working ahead 0-2 in that count, delivers to Weir. It's off the glove of Littleton. He can't find the ball. He can't find it, and Aiden Ulrich slides into home plate safely. Pitch went in the dirt. Littleton tried to backhand it. It deflected up in the air, and he could not find it as the Bulldogs get a gift run there to make it 5-0. So 2 runs in so far this inning. That one coming on the wild pitch. It's now Engel at third base and Eischen at second. Weir back in up a 1-1 count. And White saying, wait a minute, the ball hasn't left the infield. How have they given up 2 runs this inning? All those runs are both charged to the previous pitcher, McEnroy, who left the inherited runners on base for White. That pitch is up for a ball to Weir, and the count goes to 2-1. So McEnroy today will go a third of an inning. Didn't allow any hits, but he is responsible for the 2 runs that Charles City has allowed this inning. So the book is closed on him. Had that strikeout of Tate Slagle to end the previous inning. And now the runners on base currently are White's responsibility. The sophomore's 2-1 pitch, and that one grazed the outside corner for a called strike. Count evens 2-2 on Weir. In the on-deck circle, it's Schucher for Algona, the number 9 hitter. Second and third for the Bulldogs right now, up 5-0 at the bottom half of the third inning. White checks second base first. Then he'll look over to third as his 2-2 pitch. In tight to Weir, and there's a little dribbler on the check swing back to the mound. White gloves. He never looked home, and that'll bring home a run. The run comes home to score as Weir, with the little check swing ground out, drives home a run, but White never even looked at the runner at third base. Aiden Engel realized it, and he broke for home as he will score, making it 6-0 Algona. But White, had he looked at third base, he could have stopped Engel there, then made it for the first. Instead, he never even looked at the runner. Instead, just went for the out at first, and the Bulldogs make it 6-0. Again, those are just fundamental things. Coaches always tell you, look the runner back, then go to the first baseman for the out. But the Bulldogs will take it. And again, good things happen when you put the ball in play. Bulldogs have struck out twice so far today, or beg your pardon, 3 times so far today. But with runners on base, when you put the ball in play, you can force the opponent into mistakes. There hasn't been anything super fancy today for Algona, not necessarily fireworks offensively, but against this Charles City team, the Bulldogs are just putting the ball in play, and the Comets have made some mistakes so far in this ball game. So Schucher will bat, as he was on base via an error his first time up back in the second. 3 runs in this inning for the Bulldogs, leading 6-0 over Charles City. Winner on this one, like we mentioned, playing on Monday night against the winner of Humboldt and Clear Lake. That game's still slated to start at 7 o'clock. But it's now been moved to the Clarion Goldfield Dow's baseball diamond to get on the turf. White delivers. Schucher watches, and that one finds the inside part of the zone for a strike. Counts 0-1. So Bulldogs just 1 hit so far this inning, but they put 3 runs on the board, leading it 6-0. White works first base out of the rubber as he is slowed down here for the runs in. He looks at third and brings the 0-1 pitch. And Schucher had a good cut, but he sliced it foul first base side over the Bulldog dugout. And the count goes to 0-2. It's an overcast afternoon here in Fort Dodge. Cloudy skies all around us, but temperature-wise, not bad at all. We will take a day where it's in the 70s. As White has Schucher right down 0-2 in the count. His next delivery, and it's outside. It goes to the backstop, but no one moves as that ball stayed right there on the padding. Eishin was at third base, and the pitcher White was signaling that the ball was getting stuck in the padding, almost like a ball out of play, but the catcher Littleton went to pick it up, so the ball was in play. And the runner Eishin stayed at third base. Again, if you're a third, you're just worrying that the ball is going to bounce right back to the catcher and you can't score. 1-2 count right now to Schucher. And a breaking ball couldn't tempt him to go. That is a tempting offering as it pretty much crossed the entirety of the strike zone, but it broke low, and the count evens 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tough pitch to take for 1-2 count. Elsbecker on deck. Here's White with the 2-2 pitch. He went back to the fastball upstairs, and the count goes 3 balls, 2 strikes. Trying to mix his speeds. He showed that off-speed pitch to the number 9 hitter and then said, you saw the low breaking ball. Here's a high fastball, but Schucher didn't bite. And the count 3 balls, 2 strikes. This will be pitch number 21 for White. His next delivery, and that is in tight for ball 4. Boy, nice at bat by Sam Schucher. He was not tempted by a couple of very tempting offerings, and the Bulldogs will have runners at the corners. Back to the top of the order for Dawson Elsbecker, who had a 2-run single his last time up. Elsbecker 1 for 2 today. So Bulldogs on top 6-0. This year as a whole, the Bulldogs have outscored their opponents by 143 runs. If you look at the entirety of their season, that's the 5th best run differential in Class 3A. White's going to spin towards first base. He tried that third to first pickoff move, but nothing doing for the Bulldogs as everyone stayed put. You may see Schucher run at this point, but you've got to make sure that White is indeed coming to the plate before you break. White, stretch and the pitch. Schucher staying. It's outside off the glove of Littleton. Eishin fought about it, but he'll stay put at third base. Schucher will advance to second. That ball deflected a little ways towards the first base dugouts. Not all the way over, though. Eishin got a little running start there for a couple of steps off of third base and then fought better of it. And again, if you don't know for sure you're going to score, you're saying, you know what? We've got our really good part of the lineup up at the plate right now. Elsbecker had a 2 RBI hit his last time up. We're not going to take the bat out of his hands if we can avoid it. 1-0 count to Elsbecker. White with the delivery. Sails up to the backstop. Eishin fought about it again, but he stayed put. That pitch was so high, it went into the netting behind home plate. It did not hit that padding, so that ball did stay on the backstop, but at this point, it's a smaller home plate area. It's a smaller foul territory behind home plate than you'd see some of the other diamonds around the area. really a pretty small foul territory all around, especially once you get halfway down the left field and right field lines. There's a couple of padded walls that jut out, and it's a really small foul territory near the corners. But behind home plate, I'd say below average as well, as Elsbecker blasts that ball deep towards left field. Going back is Hadley. He's looking up, and it's off the monster. Eischen scores. Right behind him, the score as well for the Bulldogs is Schucher, and Elsbecker puts a bruise on the green monster for a 2-run double. It's 8-0 Algona. That was a rip to left field of 2 outs by Elsbecker. It brings home a pair, and he's having a big day. 4 RBI for the Bulldogs. And Algona blowing it open here in the third. 8-0 already, and Tate Slagle will get a chance to bat. Slagle 0-2 today. Well, you know, after he saw that ball off the monster by Dawson Elsbecker, he's going to be aiming for the monster here as well. That's such a satisfying feeling as a hitter. Even if that may have been a home run in some other ballparks, as that one hit about, I'd say 60% of the way up the monster. It's just a good feeling when you see that big left field wall and you can just drive a double off it like Elsbecker just did. Pitch to Slagle. That one inside as Slagle backs off, and the count 1 ball, no strikes. Slagle, number 2 in Class 3A and number 4 in the state of his 9 home runs. He is first in Class 3A of his above 500 batting average and number 3 in RBI, so all over the state leaderboard for the entire state as well as Class 3A. Bats out of the open right-handed stance. White with a pitch to the future Iowa Hawkeye. He went for the big breaker, but it dipped down and away for a ball, and the count 2 balls, no strikes. White has some decent movement on his curveball, but the problem is he has not been able to throw that for a strike against the Bulldog hitters, so if you can pick up that spin early, you're just not going to swing at that pitch for the Algona hitters. You're going to wait for White to throw you a fastball. The 2-0 pitch, he went fastball, and Slagle rolled that foul down the third base line. Tried to hug the line there and put one in the left field corner, but just a bit out in front as the count 2 balls, 1 strike. Tate Garman on deck, Aiden Orlick in the hole. Tate Slagle, the 9th man to bat this inning as the Bulldogs put 5 on the board so far in the third. And a chance for more. Elsbecker, a big lead at second base. Rosiska playing fairly close to the bag as there's a big hole on the right side of the infield. But Charles City knows that Slagle is apt to really try to turn on the ball and rip one to left. White's 2-1 pitch. Slagle watching, and that one finds the outside half of the zone for a strike. And the count evens 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's been a laborious inning ever since White took over on the mound. This is going to be his 28th pitch of the inning. He'll check second base, and he will step off. Well, Elsbecker has really good speed at second base. Of course, a single to the outfield will get on top of the outfielders quickly here on the turf, but still tough to cut a run off at home plate if you're Charles City. White stretching the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball, and it gets away from Littleton behind home plate. Elsbecker trying for third, and he'll go in standing as Littleton won't make the throw. That'll be a passed ball. That pitch really didn't miss the strike zone by a whole lot, but you rarely get the called strike if the catcher doesn't squeeze the ball behind home plate. Even Slagle hesitated a bit at home. He said, was that a strike? It was not. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The payoff to Slagle. And he rips that one towards left field, but it is right at Hadley for the out. That was a solid line drive for the bat of Slagle. One of those high exit velo type of hits, but directly to Hadley in left field, and the inning comes to an end. The Bulldogs bat 9, though, and they score 5. It's now Algona 8, Charles City nothing, as we head to the 4th on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube channel.
Postseason sports coverage brought to you by
Northwest Bank, commitment you can bank on.
Algona Dairy Queen. Check out the summer blizzard menu.
Bodie's Moonlight Garden. See them at the farmer's market.
Capacious Brothers Incorporated, Pioneer Seed.
Flipside in Laverne, open 7 days a week, dine in or carry out.
Snap-on Tools, the most valued tool storage solutions in the world.
Sportsman's Corner, your power sports headquarters for Can-Am and Honda.
Bub's Pie Shop serves delicious lunch and pie Tuesday through Fridays, 11 until 2.
Advanced Drainage Systems, our reason is water.
Living in Iowa sure means we rely on our furnaces and air conditioners to keep us comfortable all year round. That's why Algona Plumbing and Heating is proud to be your local trusted Armstrong dealer. They're committed to bringing you the highest quality products in heating and cooling, and it doesn't get any better than Armstrong furnaces and air conditioners. For all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, give them a call at 295-5240 or stop by their Dodge Street location. Live comfortably with Algona Plumbing and Heating.
And we welcome you back to Fort Dodge, where the Algona Bulldogs have a lead of 8-0 over the Charles City Comets as they score 5 at the bottom of the third on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream. Aiden Ulrich going back to work, as Ulrich has thrown 33 pitches so far for Algona, only allowing one base hit, as his pitch to McEnroy, and that one bends over the inside corner for a called strike, 0-1. It'll be McEnroy, Littleton, and Sheck this inning for Charles City. Bulldogs 3 runs in the second, 5 in the third so far, leading 8-0 as Ulrich delivers. And that one a bit up and in. Count 1 ball, 1 strike on McEnroy, who popped out to first base his last time up. Well, in the postseason, you start to really dial in on pitch counts as Ulrich winds in, delivers. Down and away for a ball. It's a 2-1 count. It'll be 2 days of rest before the next postseason game for whichever team wins today. Should Algona hang on to this 8-0 lead, like I said, they would play against either Humboldt or Clear Lake, depending on who wins that game tonight. 2-1 pitch. There's a little pop-up middle of the infield. Ulrich backpedaling off the mound, and he will put away the pop-up for the first out of the inning. And you just start to think, you don't know exactly what Coach Slagle has in mind should the Bulldogs win today, but just something to think about. If you want to come back as a pitcher on 2 days rest, you cannot throw more than 65 pitches. If you throw 65, it requires 2 days of rest. If you throw 66, you need at least 3 days of rest. As the pitch by Ulrich, Littleton slices that one foul first base side, as the count is 0-1. But Ulrich's been efficient so far today, as unofficially that pitch was only number 38 that he's thrown so far. So if the Bulldogs had any thoughts of keeping Ulrich eligible for the next game, should they hang on to this 8-0 lead, he's still well below the threshold that you would need to be at. As that pitch misses and the count evens, 1 ball, 1 strike. So Littleton batting right now. A ground out to first base, his first time up, 0-for-1 today. Right-handed hitting catcher for Charles City. Outfield way towards left center for the Bulldogs, as Ulrich misses and the count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. Like I talked about in the pregame, it was a tough couple of regular season outings for Ulrich to end the regular season, but he has bounced back so far today in postseason action, as the Bulldog Jr. brings the 2-1 pitch. Littleton pops that foul behind the screen, and the count evens, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Against Boone on a weekend tournament, Ulrich only lasted 2 innings. He allowed 3 hits and 5 runs, all of them earned, walked 2 and struck out 1, and that 14-4 loss against the Toreadors of Boone. Ulrich with the 2-2 delivery. Swing and a miss by Littleton for strike 3. 2 up, 2 down for Aiden Ulrich, and the number 4 hitter for Charles City, Zachary Sheck, who popped to second base his first time up. Sheck 0-for-1 today. Then after that loss against Boone, Ulrich pitched against Pocahontas area. The Bulldogs lost a wild game as Ulrich got a no decision, but he went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 8 hits, 9 runs. 4 of those were earned, 2 walks and 9 strikeouts. But point being, final 2 regular season games, he got hit around a little more than he's used to. So today it's a good sign for the Bulldogs to see Ulrich in the zone, throwing strikes and getting back on track. Not a ton of strikeouts today, but he's induced a lot of soft contact by Charles City. 0-1 pitch. Downstairs in the turf for a ball, evening it at 1-1. Ulrich only has 2 punch-outs today, but Charles City only has 1 base hit, and most of the outs have been very softly hit, either weak ground balls or pop-ups on the infield. Ulrich trying to work a 1-2-3-4 and get the Bulldogs right back up to the plate. Shakes off the first line from Slagle. Now goes into the windup of the 1-1 pitch. Sheck watching, and that one maybe a bit upstairs for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. To see the last start where Ulrich pitched really well, you have to go back essentially 3 starts ago. He pitched game 2 of the doubleheader against Humboldt as the 2-1 pitch. That one into the zone for a strike, 2-2. Bulldogs won game 1 of Tate Slagle pitching 11-0. They lost game 2, 2-0 as Ulrich pitched against Isaiah Busick, but that wasn't Ulrich's fault. The Bulldog offense just couldn't get it going against Busick. As the 2-2 pitch, downstairs for a ball, 3-2 count. Ulrich certainly pitched well enough to win that game, but the Bulldogs just left too many runners in scoring position and never could break through against Isaiah Busick. But Ulrich pitched the way you'd expect him to in that game. And really, he's pitched well throughout the season. The past 2 starts have been the aberration, not the norm, as he's back on track today. 3-2 pitch, line drive towards right field, and that one's going to get down for a base hit. Charles City, their second base hit of the game, as Sheck shoots that payoff pitch to the opposite field. Really good at bat there. Again, didn't hit it super hard, but just kind of hit it in no man's land there where the Bulldog defense couldn't get to it. And Charles City will have a 2-out base runner against Ulrich for Sawyer Hansen, who's 1-for-1 today. He has the other Charles City base hit. A line drive to left center field his first time up. He eventually stole second, but he was stranded there as Ulrich punched out the next man and then induced a pop-out to end the inning. Runner at first base, 2 outs for Charles City, trailing 8-0 as that pitch is inside. It deflects off the glove of Schlegel and rolls up the third baseline, but no advance made by the base runner as the count 1-0. In the Bulldog half of the fourth inning, they will send the same 3 batters up that they started last inning with as the Bulldogs batted around last inning. They'll start things off with Garmin, Ulrich, and Ulrich. But a 1-0 count right now on Scheck, or on Hansen that is, as Scheck is at first base, as a new baseball delivered to Ulrich. He'll throw a pickoff to first base to test that out, and diving back in safely is Scheck. Ulrich, stretch and the pitch. That one is a bit in off the plate for a ball on the count. 2 balls, no strikes. This Comet offense has struggled today, which against the likes of Ulrich or any other pitcher the Bulldogs could use makes sense, but they have struck out a lot this season as there's a swing and a miss. Count 2-1. Their 198 strikeouts coming into today were the most in the Northeast Iowa Conference, and that will just short-circuit your offense as Scheck has a pretty good lead at first base, being held on by Mason Ulrich. Like we said, not a ton of strikeouts for Aiden Ulrich today as Charles City has swung early in the count. Pick up to first, but Scheck goes back in. But a lot of soft contact, and Aiden Ulrich is yelling at Mason Ulrich. He's saying, put the tag on him, because Scheck went back in standing, and Ulrich didn't really try to put a tag on him. He was just catching the ball and then returning it to Aiden Ulrich. 2-1 pitch. Inside corner called strike, count 2-2. And frankly, that play was a little close for Scheck to go back in standing, but the Bulldogs didn't tag him, so he's at first base. Next pitch will be number 52 by Ulrich, who has a 2-2 count on Hansen. The motion and the delivery. And there's a foul tip at home plate. And it's off the body of Tate Schlegel, and the count will stay 2 balls, 2 strikes. But I would imagine Aiden Ulrich feels more than comfortable telling Mason Ulrich whatever he thinks at a given time. The two brothers can certainly give it to each other if they feel one is not doing what the other one needs. Well, we've seen Mason Ulrich catch a little bit as well this season. I don't know if we've seen Mason Ulrich catch when Aiden Ulrich's pitched. We've seen the Ulrich Schlegel battery a lot. As Ulrich will check on first base. Here's his 2-2 delivery. Called strike 3 inside corner. He locked up Sawyer Hansen, and the inning is over. 1 hit, no runs, 1 left on base for Charles City. The score stays 8-0 Algona. Bottom of the 4th next on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube channel.
When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at MoneyPass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC.
Looking for your next vehicle? Drive home happy with Chemna Auto Center, your hometown dealer for new GM, Ford, Jeep, and Ram models. Need something pre-owned? Chemna's got you covered with a great selection, many Bravo certified, each with a multi-point inspection and limited warranty. From friendly sales and finance experts to world-class or master service technicians, Chemna's here to serve you. Stop by Highway 18 West in Algona or visit Chemna.com. Chemna Auto Center, an experience you deserve.
Bottom of the 4th inning for the Harlan Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge. The sophomore Noah White continuing the pitch for Charles City as he's the 3rd Comet pitcher of the day. Right now, it's 8-0 Algona. They're on top of the Charles City Comets. The Bulldogs trying to continue their season into Monday night against the winner of Humboldt and Clear Lake. And this inning, the Bulldogs will have Garmin, Ulrich, and Ulrich the bat. Garmin with a double in the 1st inning, a walk in the 3rd as he's 1 for 1 today. And the Bulldogs will look to continue to extend this lead as they scored 3 in the 2nd, 5 in the 3rd. We're coming to you live again from the Harlan Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge. I've been spending a lot of time here as of late, ladies and gents. Not that it's a hard drive or it's hard to find this Harlan Rogers Sports Complex. It's a pretty Self-explanatory drive as Garmin dribbles that foul, third base foul territory, and the count 0-1. But I know this drive like the back of my hand. I've come here for some postseason baseball. Bishop Garrigan's first postseason game got moved down here due to the rain. I was here for a softball game the other night. Now the Bulldog baseball team getting their postseason game, their postseason opener, moved down here due to the rain as well. Pitch to Garmin, popped foul behind home plate. And the count, no balls, 2 strikes. I was actually thinking about bringing out my camping gear and just pitching a tent outside the third base dugout here from the Harlan Rogers Sports Complex, but I think the owners of the facility would have frowned upon that. But would have been easier. I've been making a lot of trips between Algona and Fort Dodge as of late to catch some postseason action for our area schools. White's 0-2 pitch to Garmin. And he rips that one towards the left center field gap. That is trouble, and that one's going to get through. It's a base hit. It's cut off right before the fence by betting the center fielder, but Garmin will easily get to second base for a double. Boy, Tape Garmin, he went up high to get that one. That pitch was at least letter high, but Garmin attacked it and blasted it towards the left center field gap. Is he swinging the bat well or what? And the Bulldogs will have their leadoff runner of the inning at second base. Not to mention that's an 0-2 count pitch. Garmin's in protect mode. You know you've got to swing if it's close, but still able to get a solid line drive out to left center field and bring Aiden Ulrich to the plate. A hit by pitch and a foul to left for Ulrich, who bats on the back chalk of that right-handed box. Or I guess, technically speaking, here on a turf field, it's the back paint of the right-handed box. Count goes to 1-0 on Ulrich. So Bulldogs trying to extend here against Charles City. Runner at second base as White brings the 1-0 home to Ulrich. Pitch up for a ball, and it's a 2-0 count. Well, again, the Substate bracket, Algona is the #1 seed. If they continue to win, they will continue to be the home team. They're the home team here today, technically, even though it's at Fort Dodge, but Mother Nature cooperating, they'll be a home team if they continue to win. They'll look towards second base, and the 2-0 pitch. Ulrich hits that one hard, deep towards the right center field gap. Benning getting on his horse. That one is to the gap, and that one will one-hop up against the fence. It is rolling around there in the outfield as Garmin will score easily. Ulrich not stopping at second. He's motoring to third base. The relay throw is not in time. It's a big man triple for Aiden Ulrich, and it's 9-0 Bulldogs. A towering blast to the opposite field. He got that in the right center field gap, and Ulrich, flying around the bases, slides headfirst into third base. That's his second triple of the year. Usain Ulrich leading the Bulldogs in triples this season, and Mason Ulrich will be the batter now for Algona. That is the 7th hit of the day for the Bulldogs, and now you start to think, you get up 10-0 here, you could potentially end this in 5 and save as much pitching as possible for a potential Monday night game for your Algona. So you really want to get that next run in if you're the Bulldogs. So 9-0 the score right now. Opposite field triple by Aiden Ulrich. That's just the 3rd triple of the year by the Bulldogs, as Aiden Ulrich has 2, Tate Slagle has 1. And now Mason Ulrich will bat. He's over 2 so far today. White continuing from the stretch. Outfield playing deep for Ulrich, who squares up his stance and bats at the back of the box. The back of the box, that is, as the pitch misses downstairs for a ball, 1-0 count. Well, you look on the other side of the bracket. Today at 4 o'clock, well, a game that got underway at 4, I should say, Boone taking on Hampton Dumont Cal. Boone, the #2 seed, Hampton Dumont, the #7 seed in this bracket. That game got moved to North Polk High School as the 1-0 pitch to Ulrich, in tight for a ball, 2-0 count. Bulldogs, of course, played at North Polk last year in the Substate game. A tough memory for the Bulldog fans as they battled, but dropped a heartbreaker against North Polk. Back when the Bulldogs played that game, though, last year, it was a grass field, natural grass, but this year, it's been renovated. It's now a turf field at North Polk. As the 2-0 pitch, Ulrich ground ball to second base. That'll get the run home. The throw to first base is in time to retire Ulrich. But Aiden Ulrich comes home to score on the RBI ground up by Mason Ulrich, who does his job. It's now 10-0 Bulldogs. 1 out. Base is now empty in the bottom of the 4th inning. So that's why Boone moved their home game, as Boone has a grass field, so they move it to the turf field of North Polk. Then you have the 3 seed Waverly Shellrock hosting Webster City, as Waverly Shellrock plays their home games at the Wartburg Baseball Diamond. So that's over on the other side of the bracket. As the pitch to Angle, he'll watch that one up for a ball, and it's a 1-0 count. That game also getting underway at 4 o'clock today to account for the weather. And like you mentioned, if the Bulldogs take care of business and put away this 10-0 game, they'll play either Humboldt or Clear Lake in an NCC rematch. Bulldogs split of Humboldt in the regular season, as the wind on the pitch to Angle. And that one misses down for a ball, 2-0 count. Algona beat Humboldt 11-0 in the first game, but they also dropped a 2-0 second game against the Wildcats. They swept Clear Lake, I should say, winning 4-3 on a walk-up by Ryan Weir, and then run rule in Clear Lake in the second game as the pitch is upstairs. 3-0 count now to Angle. I'll mention as well, we'll see if Aiden Orlick comes back out for the next inning. He's thrown 53 pitches. I would imagine the Bulldogs will now go to the bullpen for the top of the fifth. Wes Strite was getting warmed up earlier as the 3-0 pitch. Inside for ball 4, and Angle draws the 4-pitch walk. So it's now 1 out, 1 on for the Bulldogs. The runner at first base is Angle, as it'll be the shortstop Jackson Nation, who's 2 for 2, a pair of infield hits, and a pair of RBIs so far today for Algona. And it'll appear that the Bulldogs will send a pinch runner in for Aiden Angle, as Levi Walker will be the base runner. So the Bulldogs inject some more speed at first base. Walker has attempted 4 steals in the season. He's been successful 4 times. He'll run at first base for Angle. Walker playing center field today for Algona, but not in the batting order, as the junior's at first base. The home plate umpire noting that change in his scorecard. And 1 out, 1 on now for Aishin. Algona trying to win their 3rd game of the season against Charles City after sweeping the Comets in the doubleheader 11-1 and 12-0 back on July 3rd. Pickoff to first base, almost had Walker leading there, but he'll dive back in as the pickoff throw was high. And White frustrated with himself. He thought he had Walker picked off there, but the throw was too high for Thompson to get the tag down in time, as Walker had a little bit of a lean there towards second base. Walker reestablishes a pretty big lead at first base. Slide step in the pitch. Walker is running. Littleton throw to second base on a hop. Walker head first slide, and he is out at second base. Walker had a little trouble with the slide on the turf, kind of face planted just a bit, and that slowed him down as Walker will be tagged out at second base for out number 2 of the inning. That was a bang-bang play there at second base in any case, even though the slide got a little awkward. It's just tough to slide on the wet turf. Nobody's used to that, as the pitch is in there for a called strike. Count even at 1-1. The Bulldogs did play here earlier this year. They played a tournament game against Solon here at the Harlan Rogers Sports Complex, which that was a tough one-run loss for the Bulldogs, but the turf wasn't wet that day. It was a hot, sunny summer afternoon when the Bulldogs played here last time, as there's a foul ball back into the screen. Aishin has a 1-2 count on him right now. But there's a lot of nuances to playing on a field that is nothing but turf, including the base paths. In the windup right now is White. Hustles up the 1-2 pitch, and he missed upstairs for a ball. Count evens, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody on base, 2 outs. 2 runs in so far in the 4th for Algona, leading 10-0 against Charles City. White's 2-2 pitch. And a breaking ball called strike for easy, locked up Aishin. That big looping breaker caught the zone, and the Bulldogs are done in the 4th. But an RBI triple by Aiden Ulrich and an RBI ground out by Mason Ulrich gave the Bulldogs a pair of runs, and they now lead at 10-0 on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
AMU wishes our local teams good luck in postseason play. The hard work our ball players put in is reflected in their success on the field. AMU follows the same game plan when providing great services for our customers. AMU employees work as a team to provide reliable and affordable services to our community. When you need electric, water, cable TV, high-speed internet, or telephone services, hit a home run with Algona Municipal Utilities. Community-owned for community benefit.
Where you bank matters. Hi, I'm Sherry Bacon at Security State Bank, and we're relationship bankers. We get to know our customers and understand their financial needs. We're locally owned and operated, which means family, community, and service always comes first. So come to Security State Bank. We'll treat you like family. Security State Bank in Algona, Burt, and Laverne. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Security State Bank.
Living in Iowa sure means we rely on our furnaces and air conditioners to keep us comfortable all year round. That's why Algona Plumbing and Heating is proud to be your local trusted Armstrong dealer. They're committed to bringing you the highest quality products in heating and cooling, and it doesn't get any better than Armstrong Furnaces and Air Conditioners. For all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, give them a call at 295-5240 or stop by their Dodge Street location. Live comfortably with Algona Plumbing and Heating.
Algona 10, Charles City nothing. We move to the top half of 5 from the Harlan Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge. The Comets need to score this inning, otherwise they will be run-ruled by the Bulldogs, and the season will come to an end for Charles City. And they'll face a new pitcher. Wes Strite has taken over for Algona as Aiden Orlick threw 53 pitches today. That means the Bulldogs are taking him out and keeping him eligible to potentially pitch in a Monday night game. So that's a smart move by Algona, as Ulrich pitched extremely well today. We'll give you his final stats later on, but right now, Wes Strite has taken over. Strite has pitched in 8 games, 6 starts, his record 5-1, and his ERA 5.41. 35 strikeouts and 25 walks, 32 1/3 innings for Strite, and a .252 opposing batting average. As first pitch is in there for a called strike 1 to Micah Thompson, the Charles City first baseman. It's Thompson, Jacobs, and Hadley this inning for Charles City. As like we said, Comets need at least 1 run to keep this game alive. The junior Strite winds and delivers, and that one is popped first base side, foul territory, and that is out of play as the count 0-2. This was a good confidence booster for Aiden Ulrich. Not that he needs it necessarily. I mean, this was a Bulldog team that plays with a lot of confidence, including Ulrich. But those final 2 regular season starts, like you mentioned, just didn't go his way. So to have a day where he was dominant for 4 innings is a great sign, as there's a dribbler foul third base side, and the count 0-2. If the Bulldogs are going to go where they want to go this season, they need dominant pitching from both Tate Slagle and Aiden Ulrich, especially because Tate Garman, their big number 3 from last year, of course he's back in the order as a batter, but you're not going to be seeing him on the mound this postseason. Strite with the 0-2 delivery. Ground ball towards third base where Aiden Ulrich has taken over. He gloves, he throws to first base, and the throw is in time for the out. Isn't that always the truth in baseball? The ball is always going to find you whenever you change positions, as it found Aiden Ulrich, and he records the first out of the inning for Wes Strite. So Thompson now 0-2. Here's Luke Jacobs, who popped out to third base his first time up, 0-1 today. But Wes Strite pitching now for Algona. Big innings eater for the Bulldogs. He has pitched a lot of games with high pitch counts. He pitched a lot of tournament games, some non-conference games, and he has soaked up a ton of innings this year for the Bulldogs as he delivers. That pitch is outside for a ball, 1-0 count. Every staff needs a workhorse like that. Those nights when you don't have the 1-2 of Ulrich and Slagle going, you need someone you can rely on, and you know what you're going to get is Strite fires, and there's a cut and a miss. Count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. Strite is going to be in the zone for the most part. He is not going to walk a whole lot of hitters, so he will force guys to hit their way on. As Strite works quickly, winds and brings the 1-1 pitch, and tried the outside corner but missed. Count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. Bulldogs trying to take it home against Charles City, leading at 10-0 right now on Hometown Radio KLGA Algona, 92.7 FM, and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream, as Jacobs goes fishing for one that was down low, and the count evens 2-2. Outfield towards left center for Jacobs. Just 2 hits so far for the Comets, as Strite brings the 2-2 offering. Way outside for a ball. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Final stat line for Ulrich looks like this. 4 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, no runs. Did not walk anybody and struck out 2. Or struck out 3, beg your pardon. As the 3-2 pitch. There's a little dribbler third base side. That one hugging the line but foul. And we'll do it again at a 3-2 count. So even though Ulrich maybe didn't have the electrifying strikeout totals that sometimes you've seen in the past, I beg your pardon, it was 2 strikeouts, in fact. No, I was right, it was 3. Trying to read my own writing here in the scorebook. 3 strikeouts, not a huge total. I mean, he's had games where he's gotten well into the double digits, but just induced weak contact all afternoon, and he commanded the ball really well today as the 3-2 pitch. Fouled the first base side out of play, and we'll do it again at the 3-2 count. And frankly, part of the strategy for Charles City was we're going to swing early in the count and be aggressive against Ulrich. We're not going to spot him a 1-2 or an 0-2 count by not swinging the bat. We're going to try to swing early against him, so that just led to a lot of balls that were put in play, but balls that were put into play not very hard. As the 3-2 by Strite, and that ball's hit in the air towards right center field. Now Garman cruising in as he'll make the grab in medium deep right field for out number 2 of the inning. So 2 up, 2 down. Charles City's season now down to its final hope as Ethan Hadley today is 0 for 1. He flied out to right field his first time up. Wes Strike trying to work a 1-2-3 fifth inning and close this one out for the Bulldogs and turn the focus over to Monday night as the Bulldogs, should they hang on, will be back at home against opponent TBD. Hadley, right-handed hitting outfielder, started today on the mound. He is in line for the loss if the score doesn't turn around, as he'll take a pitch on the inside corner for a called strike, 0-1. Outfield towards left center for Algona on the top of the 5th. From the Holland Rogers Sports Complex, where the Bulldogs are used to playing against the likes of St. Edmund, as the 0-1 pitch misses for a ball, 1-1 count. Of course, this year the Bulldogs did not visit St. Edmund. They had a home doubleheader against the Gales, but they played here in a weekend, or I should say a Friday tournament against Solon. Here's Strite with the 1-1 pitch, and that is inside for a ball. Didn't miss Hadley by much there, but it missed him as the count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. Hadley pitched the first inning in 2/3 of this game. He is the pitcher of record potentially as the 2-1 pitch. Inside, that one hit Hadley right above the number 2 on the back of his jersey as Hadley will provide Charles City with a 2-out base runner. So runner aboard first, and the number 9 hitter, Jackson Rosiska, who's 0 for 1 today for ground at the shortstop. Bulldogs will have a quick conference on the mound of Wes Strite before he attacks the number 9 hitter, as Vinny Benning's on deck for Charles City. So Comets doing what they have to do here to try to extend the game. We'll see if Rosiska can do that, as he's 0 for 1 today. So conference breaks up the mound, and Strite will go back to work for the Bulldogs. He'll be forced to the stretch for the first time today, as the Bulldog Jr. looks into Tate Slagle, the catcher. He holds the hands head high and brings the pitch. And there's a cut and a miss for strike 1 by Rosiska. 0-1. Outfield shallow and towards left center for the Bulldogs. The center fielder Walker has come in a couple of strides in center. 0-1 count. Strite, hands held high again. Small leg kick in the pitch. And he will miss for a ball to even the count. 1 ball, 1 strike. No runs, 2 hits, 1 error for Charles City. 10 runs, 7 hits, no errors so far for Algona. That's not a big deal today. With a lot of balls in play, Bulldogs have played clean defense so far. Here's Strite with the 1-1 pitch. And a nasty breaking ball in there for a called strike as it freezes Rosiska. Count now 1 ball, 2 strikes on the Charles City second baseman. Charles City down to their final strike. Rosiska trying to battle here. The senior infielder will take that pitch outside as it goes to the backstop. It deflects back to Slagle. There may be play at second. The throw to second base, the tag, and they got him! And the game is over! The Bulldogs win this as Slagle throws out Hadley at second base. He went in standing as he didn't think a throw was coming, but Slagle gunned it down on the line, and the Bulldogs run rule Charles City. Final score 10-0. The Bulldogs will continue their season on Monday night at home against the winner of Humboldt and Clear Lake. What a throw by Slagle to end it, and what a way to end this ball game overall. So the win goes to Aiden Ulrich, and the Bulldogs pick up their 23rd win of the season, 23-8 now Algona's record. Charles City will end their campaign with a 1-27 record. We'll step aside for a timeout and look at the final numbers from this one coming up next on Hometown Radio KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube live stream.
Postseason Sports brought to you by
Farmer State Bank, a strong history, a bright future.
Algona Livestock, sales every Monday.
American Glass, for all your glass needs, think American.
Dance Connection and Tumbling by Michelle, passionate about teaching, creative about dance.
Daylight Donuts, open early, serving freshly made donuts, rolls, and coffee.
Farm and Home Services, check their listings at farmhomeservices.com.
Holmes Animal Clinic, caring for your pets, big and small, they love them all.
Algona Frame and Auto Body, we meet by accident. Postseason Sports on the radio brought to you by
Phil's Auto and Truck Repair, getting you back on the road.
High Point Land Company, your premier destination for land transactions.
J&J Custom Meats, located in Whittemore.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 in Algona.
Tangle Salon, for all your cuts, colors, hair extensions, and massage therapy needs.
Ulrich Construction, let them do the work.
West Bend Ford, meeting your service, new and used car vehicle needs.
Hy-Vee, fill your cart, fuel your car with the Fuel Saver Plus Perks card. Postseason sports coverage brought to you by
Northwest Bank, commitment you can bank on.
Algona Dairy Queen. Check out the summer blizzard menu.
Bodie's Moonlight Garden. See them at the farmer's market.
Capacious Brothers Incorporated, Pioneer Seed.
Flipside in Laverne, open 7 days a week. Dine in or carry out.
Snap-on Tools, the most valued tool storage solutions in the world.
Sportsman's Corner, your power sports headquarters for Can-Am and Honda.
Bub's Pie Shop serves delicious lunch and pie Tuesday through Fridays, 11 until 2.
Advanced Drainage Systems, our reason is water.
Hey Bulldog fans, this is Coach Chad Schlegel, and you're listening to Algona Bulldog Baseball on KLGA Hometown Radio.
Wrapping things up from the Harlan Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge, where today the Algona Bulldogs defeat the Charles City Comets by a final count of 10-0 in 5 innings, as it's time now to look at the final stats from this game. For the Bulldogs, it was 10 runs on 7 hits. They left 3 runners on base and did not commit any errors tonight. For Charles City, no runs, 2 hits. They leave 2 runners on base, and they commit 1 error in this ball game. The winning pitcher for Algona is Aiden Ulrich, as Ulrich improves his season record to 5-2. Ulrich throws 4 innings tonight, walked 0 batters, allowed 2 hits, no runs allowed, and he struck out 3. The final inning was pitched by Wes Strite as he threw a scoreless inning. Didn't strike out or walk anybody, but he faced the minimum. 3 batters in that final inning as he pitched a scoreless 5th. For Charles City, the losing pitcher today was Ethan Hadley for the first inning and 2/3 in this ball game, as he allowed 3 runs on 3 hits. Only 1 of those was earned. Didn't walk anybody, and he had 1 strikeout. He was followed by Holden McEnroy and Noah White in the pecking order for Charles City, as the Bulldogs did some damage against each of those 3 pitchers, winning this one 10-0. The Bulldogs got their runs with 3 in the second, 5 in the third, and 2 in the fourth as they blanked Charles City here today. 10-0 the final score. With the win, the Bulldogs now 23-8. Charles City will end their campaign with a 1-27 record. A couple of final parting thoughts before we wrap this one up. Of course, it was great to see Aiden Ulrich back on the mound and just really doing what he does today, which was pitch excellently, dominating and controlling the ball game. Ulrich put the Comets down, 3 up, 3 down to start the first inning, and really that set the tone for the entire ball game. At no point today did Charles City have a runner get past second base. They never had more than 1 runner get on in any inning, as Ulrich only gave up 2 hits. Like I was talking about during the last inning, it wasn't the dominant strikeout numbers that he's had at times this season, but he just induced weak contact all game long. And the Bulldog defense, which maybe has been inconsistent at best at times this season, they were very clean today defensively. 0 errors by Algona, so I think that's a huge thing you were looking for today against Charles City. You know, ultimately, the more talented team won today. The team with better players ended up winning. The team with a better record ended up winning. The 1 seed beat the 8 seed, however you want to frame it. But I think the thing you were looking for today for Algona is don't walk batters. Make the Charles City hitters have to hit the ball and put it into play. And the Bulldog pitchers, Wes Strite and Aiden Ulrich, both did that. They threw strikes. They didn't walk anybody. And then the Bulldog defense, they did their job. Not that there were any spectacular plays, but they made all of the routine plays, and that is all you need to do behind good pitchers. So Bulldogs take care of business today. They did what they were supposed to do, defeating Charles City by a final score of 10-0 in this one. As we said, Bulldogs will play on Monday night against the winner of Humboldt and Clear Lake, as we'll have coverage of that game right here on KLGA 92.7 and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream. Tomorrow night, a programming note, we'll have 2 games coming your way. The Bishop Garrigan baseball team will play a district championship game at St. Ansgar. I'll have that one for you here on Hometown Radio, KLGA, and the Algona Radio YouTube stream. We're going to bring Brian Wilson in for the Bulldogs softball game tomorrow night. You'll hear Bulldogs softball on KLGZ, 98.5 FM at AM 1600, with a video stream going for that as well. Brian will have the call on that one as that game gets underway at 7 o'clock as well. That'll do it for this broadcast. Got to give a big thank you to all of our postseason sponsors and video streaming sponsors as well. Like we always mention during these broadcasts, the state does charge a pretty penny for these broadcasts in the postseason, so we appreciate all of our local businesses helping us video stream these games. And if you get a chance to get out there and support these local businesses, that is a great thing to do, especially with all the great stuff they do for our station and allowing us to video stream these games in the postseason. So the Bulldogs win it today, as this has been a sports production of Hometown Radio, KLGA, and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream. Your final score, Algona 10 and Charles City 0.